The wind has died down. Batting practice this afternoon was an adventure for all those guys shagging. I mean, the wind was blowing about 40 miles an hour from left field to right field. Drew Goodman back upstairs. Now, you may recall on Sunday, Carlos Gonzalez left the ball game early on. He had 2 at-bats, was 1 for 2. He's hitting every ball game. He had some tightness in his hamstring. The Rockies got him out before any further damage. He is not in the starting lineup tonight. He took batting practice. He jogged. We are told he is available to pinch hit late in the ball game if necessary. He is, as you would imagine, day to day. Not day to day, he's month to month. No, he's year to year. He's been around for a long time. Mark Stout's downstairs. Mark, welcome.
Thanks, Drew. Guys, I asked manager Jim Tracy to give his team a grade after the first week of the season. He doled out a C+, the plus for the solid work of the bullpen. He said the defense had high points and low points, and the offense is idling in neutral. He hopes they step on the gas in this Mets series. Guys?
All right, Mark, thanks very much. The table's set. Greg Smith will have the baseball for the Rockies. John Main for the New York Mets. Rockies and Mets, come on back to Coors Field with us. Speed internet. Get blazing fast speeds that won't burn up your wallet. Buy E470 and Express Toll. Quick, easy, and available to anyone. Test drive it today. By Ford Taurus, the all-new Ford Taurus. It's America's most innovative full-size sedan. Ford Taurus. Drive one. And by Grainger, with over 900,000 products for the ones who get it done. Jose Reyes back healthy again. He did not play in 2009 after May the 13th with a bad hamstring injury, and then he had a thyroid issue during spring training, and he missed the first few days of the regular season. He's hitting .250 early on. He is a dynamic talent. Luis Castillo will bat behind him, and then it's David Wright. He already has a home run this year at Citi Field. He only hit 10 last year, both home and away. Jason Bay was their big free agent signee, comes from Boston. Jeff Francoeur, who we talked about off the top. Fernando Tatis, Rod Barajas up from Texas. Angel Pagan in center field. And John Main, big right-hander on the mound. Greg Smith will take the baseball as we glance at the scouting report. Frazier?
Yeah, we sure will. And this young man has got to get command of, I think, the secondary stuff just to offset his fastball at 86 to 90. That's the one thing he did in spring training. He had the ability to throw the curve, slider, and changeup. He contains the raining game as good as anybody in baseball, obviously with all the pickoffs.
First pitch is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Text keyword pizza followed by a space and your name to 95323 to receive your Domino's special offer and be entered to win a pizza party for 15. One weekly winner will be chosen. Greg Smith was set to go, and something came flying in from the stands. A little groundswork done, and groundskeeping's done, and we are ready to go. So here's Greg Smith in his second start. He admitted after his first start in Milwaukee, in which he gave up 5 runs in 5 innings, that he was profoundly nervous after not having pitched in the big leagues in more than a year, and you can understand that, George.
Well, absolutely you can. And again, this is a guy that had a great spring. He was very focused when he came into spring training, yet you want to see the results when you put that second deck up.
Gave up a couple of home runs. Casey McGee hit a 3-run opposite field home run. That did a lot of damage. The 2-0s popped up, and Olivo's not going to have a play.
I'm not sure you'll see a lot of plays behind home plate on foul territory because of the wind at Coors Field tonight. That's the one thing. You see them out in left field that they're whipping around. Not as much as they were earlier in the day around 4 o'clock as they are now as that storm moved through Denver. There's no rain here at the ballpark, obviously. But there's going to be some winds. It's going to push the ball hard to the right side.
And Reyes fouls that back 2-2. Whenever you've had a long layoff, Huey, you could take as much batting practice as you want, but your timing in games can't all be there initially, can it?
It's not, because of that timing issue. You can take off of the coach's batting practice, but until you see game action, when your adrenaline's pumping, that's when you get back into the swing of things, and Reyes is just not there yet.
Well, not only that, you go to extended spring, you're facing guys that throw the ball behind your head and then on the block on the corner. It's not the same thing as facing a guy at the big league level. And, of course, they're a little more amped up. You're a big leaguer coming in here trying to get in shape to go play baseball.
Well, and as Drew mentioned just a moment ago, and he didn't play after May last year either, so it's almost a year and a half.
3-2 and a beautiful changeup. Foul tip held by Miguel Olivo. So Greg Smith strikes out Jose Reyes.
Second baseman, number 1, Luis Castillo.
Good changeup down into the location of where you want it on the inner half. You see it on the 4th strike zone. A good velocity off the velocity of his fastball.
So here comes the 34-year-old second baseman, Luis Castillo. And like Reyes, he is a switch hitter. That's in there for a strike. Castillo has battled injuries the last few years. The last year, he had pretty good health and hit .302 for a Mets team that really struggled to score runs. On the ground is short to Tulowitzki. 2 outs. Here are the Rockies gloves with Carlos Gonzalez sitting out for a day or two. Seth Smith's in left field. Dexter Fowler in center. Brad Hoff in right. It's Stewart and Tulowitzki. Barmes and Helton in the infield. Miguel Olivo is doing the catching. So the way it'll work with Olivo catching tonight, Chris Iannetta will catch Aaron Cook tomorrow, and then Olivo, who caught the fantastic start by Jorge De La Rosa on Friday, will catch him on Thursday afternoon when the Rockies and Mets conclude the series. Here's David Wright, and he's way out front on that terrific changeup by Smith.
You can already tell in today's ball game that his changeup is better than what we saw in Milwaukee. Be able to get Jose Reyes, and then first pitch changeup to David Wright.
Two balls and a strike on Wright. A tough year for David Wright. I mean, he's used to hitting. See his numbers at Coors Field. He's used to hitting 30-plus home runs, well over 100 RBIs. He's a 300-plus hitter. Last year in the new ballpark, a grand total of 10 home runs. And he is, make no mistake, the face of this franchise.
Well, there's no question, and he's going to be for a long, long time. Even though those home runs were down, he missed a lot of time, 72 RBIs. He's not going to hit the 30 to 35 home runs that he did at Shea Stadium. That park is playing very big. The conversations with Keith Hernandez, who is their color analyst next door.
Let's take a look at today's keys to the game, brought to you by Suzuki. What do you have, Frazier?
Well, I think Smith coming back and having a good ball game here. I think that's going to be one of the big keys. And with Cargo out at the top of that lineup, other guys are going to have to pick it up. Smith, Fowler, and set the table for Helton and the rest of the guys. The bullpen is back, and what I mean by that, the day off for Betancourt, where he wasn't available for the 8th. Bilal had the day off, so the bullpen is back at full strength for today's ball game with yesterday's off day.
Jason Bay takes a strike. David Wright is a base stealer, but Smith is very difficult to run on. Quickly a 2-strike count on Jason Bay. You know, Mets fans were wondering, all right, how is he going to handle the Big Apple, the pressure? Jason Bay came from Boston. He handled that pretty well. There's a lot of pressure playing in Beantown.
Listen, you got to understand something. I played New York, but you got to understand something about the pressure at those ballparks. They have a lot of guys to pick on. You know, they had Big Papi. They had everybody else in the lineup. You know, you continue to hear Manny's name in Boston all the time. Jason Bay was just a nice guy in left field that drove in 100. And he was good to the media. He talked to the media. And I think that's why, you know, again, that's like going to New York. They want to, you know, they want to talk to Jeter and they want to talk to A-Rod. They don't care about Jason Bay.
Well, you could take a little bit of a lead from David Wright. Be a stand-up guy, too. If you don't have a good game, just say, hey, I didn't have a good game.
Misses with the changeup 2-2. Jason Bay last year drove in 119, which was second in the American League to Mark Teixeira, who drove in 122. He had 36 home runs. That was tied for 3rd in the league.
And because of back issues, I think, quite honestly, could have commanded a bigger contract than what he got with the New York Mets. There were some teams scared off due to that injuries or the plague of the back problems.
The throw over here.
There he goes, and it's fouled back. David Wright got a pretty good jump. Hey, tonight is Tuesday. You know the drill. It's Text the Booth night. Text Booth, followed by a space, and then your question to 95323. We'll answer your questions live on the air throughout the game. Brought to you by Office Liquidators and OfficeLiquidators.com, Colorado's largest selection and lowest prices of office furniture. You knew the throw was coming, didn't you, Huey?
Yeah, you did, because after you get the jump like David Wright got the time before, you have to throw over. That's why I thought he was going to throw over the pitch before, just because he hadn't done it and the count was 2-2, and it's an opportunity for David Wright to take off.
Not going, and it's fouled off. 19 pitches so far in the first inning for Greg Smith. He worked a deep count on Jose Reyes before striking him out. He walked David Wright, and now he has fired several bullets at Jason Bay.
Maybe throw over again.
To make it a different look.
There's Wright going. It's in the air to right. There's still pretty good wind because that ball started out. I mean, there was no way it was going to be playable, but it got blown back about 30 rows.
Jeff, it looked like he took off on very first movement too, though. He's not trying to read a move. It's just first move. He's going. If they pick me, they pick me.
Yeah, he's guessing. Hey, that's exactly what you do on a guy that has a great move. You just have to guess when he's going to go home and hope that you're right.
Not going here, and once again it's fouled off.
This type of an at-bat early in a ball game will drive you crazy because you got a runner running off and on. You've got a batter that you're making nasty pitches on to continue to foul off your out pitch. And so you start to eliminate, where have I not gone yet? Can I go get him there on a 2-2 count?
And the strikeout of Jason Bay. 2 punch outs in that first inning for Greg Smith. That'll calm the nerves. And we'll see the Rockies with the bats when we come back to Coors Field. Smith, who generally speaking has a high on base percentage, will hit in the leadoff spot. Dexter Fowler settled in the number 2 spot, will stay put with Carlos Gonzalez in one of those day-to-day situations with a tight hamstring. Here's the rest of the lineup presented by Southwest.com. Todd Helton will be in the 3-hole. Troy Tulowitzki will bat cleanup. Brad Hopp next, and Miguel Olivo. Ian Stewart off to a fabulous start. Clint Varmus 8, and then a very good hitting pitcher who's excited to be in the National League for that reason, Greg Smith.
He's very excited about it. Obviously, to swing the bat, a very good athlete that was the Louisiana High School Player of the Year his senior year.
Here's a strike on Seth Smith, so the lineup begins with a Smith and ends with a Smith. George, don't make Doug try to look that up and see when was the last time. It's just not right.
Doug gets bored, so we got to figure out ways to keep him busy.
Here's Greg, LSU product. Now we're going to watch the radar gun with John Maine, because the conversation around the Mets organization has been what's happened to Maine's fastball. He threw, you know, in 07 and 08 where he was an outstanding starting pitcher. He was at 91, 94, George, and he's been really around 88, 87 this year.
Even low as 85. In his first start, 29 pitches, only 6 fastballs thrown in the first inning. Pitched backwards an awful lot. They wonder if the shoulder impingement that he had a year ago, that he's just fearful of letting it go, just to air it out. He's kind of maybe in that comfort zone of trying to work the ball both sides of the plate.
And true to form, again, off speed. Again, he's heading the count as well, but that was a changeup. 1-2. John Maine, I was talking to Jason Giambi about him. They used to see him every year with the Yankee Mets series, 6 ball games. He said he used to compare him a lot to Matt Cain. He'd really come after you with a fastball. Strike 3. And they threw the fastball there at better velocity at 91.
Very good location on the outside inner half of the plate where you just lock up Smith, where maybe the report says he hasn't been going there. Well, let's take a look at John Maine and the scouting report on him as he enters this game against the Rockies. The 88 to 94. The 94 is a little bit of the history part of things. Slider 81, 86. Now what he'll do with that slider, he'll add a little velocity and cut the fastball and work it in on the left-handers. Change up 82 to 86. It'll have some fade. It's a circle change. Maine really liked the home ballpark, and why not, as big as that yard is. 6-1 at home last year with a 198. Out on the road, struggled to a 1-5 record with a near 7 earned run average. Against the Rockies in his career, 2-1, 2.66 earned run average.
Dexter tripled on Sunday when he replaced Carlos Gonzalez from the left side. That was good to see, especially for Dex, because he was 0 for 8 from the left side of the plate in the early going before tripling deep into the right field corner. He's in a ditch now, 0-2. Last year he hit well above 300 right-handed, just 240 left-handed. And this ball in the air to center field. Angel Pagan pulls it down. 2 outs. Let's take a look at the Mets defensively. Jason Bay, of course, is in left field. Pagan in center. Jeff Francoeur, the great arm, in right field. David Wright's won Gold Gloves. Jose Reyes has great hands. Luis Castillo really turns the double play well. Fernando Tatis is at first base, and Rod Barajas is behind the plate. 2 outs, and here's Helton. And Helton drives it to left field. Stay fair. It is a foul ball, which gives us an opportunity to tell you about our umpiring crew tonight. Ron Culpa is behind home plate. Making that call was Tom Hallion, who's the crew chief. We're not going to get to see Tom's strikeout call because he's never going to get. Yeah, he's never going to get to home plate in this series. Lance Barksdale and Dana Demuth join the previous mentioned gentleman. There's Culpa. John Maine's thrown a lot of strikes early in this game.
And a quality strikes down in the strike zone. In the previous start, up into the zone. Now staying down lower into the zone, 89 miles an hour with that fastball.
Here's something that it's not amazing, but it surprised me. John Maine, over the last 3 years, has limited left-handed hitters to a 159 average.
Yeah,
left-handed hitters.
Exactly, and this is not going to help that average drive a little bit farther on a fastball at 91 away from Todd Helton.
Huey, isn't that amazing?
Well, it is because, but his best pitch to left-handers is that changeup that fades down and away. And if you don't stay on it, then you don't get it. But David Wright, heck of an effort to dive to his left. Really played off the line. They were trying to pitch Todd away and hoped that he would try to roll over it. But Todd's just too good of a hitter. He just drove it through the left side. Well,
here, when you are trying to do that, you got to put some sink on the ball. Those fastballs were straight. There wasn't a lot of movement to them when you're trying to get them to roll over. I thought it was interesting, though. 2 straight left-handed batters, 0-2, and he came in too much of the strike zone on an 0-2 count. Well, let's take a look on the 4th strike zone where he's working. I mean, everything's down and away from Todd. See, there it is again, down and away with the fastball, just off of the plate at 91. Helton's a pretty good hitter. It wasn't that bad a pitch from Maine.
Jeff, that was a great example of we always talk about letting the ball get deep. That's what Todd did there.
Well, he's just so good at that. I mean, not a lot of guys can do it. They'll get out on that front side and then not trust their hands.
1-0 on Tulowitzki, who last year settled into that 4-hole in the second half and hit .344 in the cleanup spot. 12 home runs, 41 driven in less than 200 at bats. 2-0 on Tulowitzki. You can put a lot of focus, I suppose, if you're a glass half empty person, say, boy, Troy's had miserable Aprils, below 200 batting average, but at the end always turned out well. 3-0. However, Jeff, nobody wants to get off to a slow start. That man, #1 on that list. And whatever the anxiety issues are, whatever you have to battle in terms of history in your mind, you can get off rolling in April. Boy, it's got to make May a lot easier.
Well, it does, and that's the thing right now with Troy. I mean, hitting 231 to him's got to be like hitting 300. It's the way he's been in April before, down in the 140s, 150s. He's thinking life's good.
Well, I think, too, part of that changeup is the fact that he is in a position where he feels like he's got to carry this team a little bit. So he's, again, that's trying too hard too early.
Fans, feed your baseball fever at Taco Bell. If Colorado scores 7 or more runs during any ball game, go to Taco Bell locales between 4 and 6 the following day. Feed your fever with 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a medium drink. Now that is a steal. 1 order per customer.
Well, last year, Brad Hopp, prior to the All-Star break, hit nearly 350 in this situation with runners in scoring position. Hope to carry that note over to the first half here.
Pulled down the line, fair ball. Here comes Helton to the plate. The ball kicks out. Green light for Tulowitzki. He's flying home. 2-run double, Brad Hopp. Little 2-out, first inning rally. You gotta love it.
Well, it's great for Greg Smith because he gives you a little cushion mentally as a pitcher now with a 2-run lead and knowing that Maine's struggling not only to find his location, but where he's wanting to put the pitch. The other Rockies hitters a little more patient. Hopp was not patient. He got a pitch he liked out over the middle of the plate at 83 miles an hour. It was a slider they tried to backdoor, and he just hooked it out of the reach of Tatis and down into the corner. And then when it ricocheted out, that's what allowed Tulowitzki the opportunity to come around to score from first base.
And now an RBI opportunity for Miguel Olivo. Down the third base line, but that's foul. Maine struck out Seth Smith looking, and then got Dexter Fowler on a medium-range fly ball. 2 pretty quick outs. Then Helton served a single to left. A 4-pitch walk to Tulowitzki. He wasn't close with the baseball. And then Brad Hopp pulling the ball just inside the bag. And Olivo, fortunately, that check swing goes foul. With that double, Brad Hopp doing his thing again in his home yard. He's 6 for 12 at Coors Field with a couple of home runs. He's doubled his RBI total. He's up to 4. Well, it's time for the Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. Sunday, Miguel Olivo with his second of the year. Though Tony Gwynn almost brought it back, except he lost his glove. Our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. He's going to hit a few, isn't he? 1 and 2 on Miguel.
2 home runs, 2 assists by the glove.
Yeah. First home run off the glove of Ryan Braun in Milwaukee.
He's not trusting his slider. Last 2 pitches have been totally out of the strike zone. Both have been sliders, a little bit more velocity, but he's trying to get him to go fish, and he hasn't fished. And then again, those base hits on 0-2 counts and early counts cost him in this game.
You know, George, to steal one of your favorite phrases, too often for John Maine, it's been 5 and fly, and he's on that pace again. This is his 21st pitch.
I mentioned 29 pitches in his first outing in the first inning. You buy time because of reputation before pretty soon people start to look in other directions. And I think that's where the Mets are with Maine. They want to see more velocity. They want to see better command of his pitches and better results, obviously.
Yeah, he used to be a guy that 65-70% of the time would just come right at you with his fastball.
Now that really dropped dramatically. As I mentioned, Jeff, in that first start, 7 fastballs, I believe, or 6 fastballs out of the 29 pitches thrown. That was a changeup at 83, but not very well placed.
Maine came up with the Baltimore Orioles out of UNC Charlotte, former 6th round pick. Again, the 2-2, and it's high. Good at bat going for Miguel Olivo.
He's really stretching this inning out now.
Outfield is straight up against Olivo. Wind blowing left to right.
Well, an injury-plagued season a year ago for Maine. And Drew, you're mentioning the 5-inning and fly. I mean, he only went 7 innings one time last year.
And Maine wins the battle, though Olivo extends it. A 25-pitch first inning for John Maine. The Rockies rally with 2 outs. Brad Hopp, a 2-run double. Brad Hopp with a 2-run double, but he must have injured himself because Ryan Spilborghs is now in right field. We talked at the start of the season, Jeff Houston, about the Rockies' outfield depth and how it may be the best in baseball. Well, guess what? That depth's now out there. Seth Smith in left, Ryan Spilborghs now in right.
Yeah, I didn't see anything when he came off the field. I was looking down in the dugout, and nothing alerted me to the fact that he was hurt until after that inning. I just saw Spilly running out to right field. But that's where it's nice, because think back to the other day when Carlos went out, you were able to throw Dexter in there, and now Seth Smith's getting the start. Ryan Spilborg's out in right field.
And Francoeur swings at the first pitch, which he does frequently, and Smith and Fowler. And it's Dexter Fowler at the last minute taking it away from Seth Smith. Fortunately, no collision. Let's go back in between innings. After Miguel Olivo struck out, Brad Hawk talking to Scotty Garrett, the assistant trainer. Jim Tracy joins the conversation. That's all we got.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they were looking in a specific spot.
Yeah, you didn't see him reach for maybe his hamstring or his ankle or anything like that to say that's what was hurting him.
Well, I just read the lips of Jim Tracy. He just said, got to get him out. And he just made that decision. And early in a season like this, you can't have, like, same thing with Gonzalez. A little bit of tightness turn into a pull, then you lose him 6 to 8 weeks.
0-2 on Fernando Tatis. Remember, Tatis was out of the big leagues for a while, George, and he came back. He was the comeback player of the year with the Mets in 08.
Winter ball's a wonderful thing. Went back and proved himself there, healthy, wanted to get back in it. They were looking for players. Really, they were looking for a left fielder. Remember, he went up and played left field an awful lot for the Mets and had a great year, and then just reinvented himself to the game of baseball.
Well, really, as a utility guy, too. I mean, now able to play some third if they need him, first base here tonight. But you're right, George, left field. Well, good for him.
In the air to shallow right center field. Spilborghs will make the catch, and we check in with Mark Stat. Mark?
Thanks, guys. Let's get to the AT&T trivia question for the night. You see Todd Helton at first base in front of me. Everybody knows he has 2,000 hits for the Rockies. The Mets are one of 8 franchises without a 2,000 hit player. That said, can you name the original Met that has the most hits in the history of that franchise? We'll get you that answer coming up, guys.
Well, I got to believe one of these two guys up here know that answer, because they grew up in New York as Met fans. Since I grew up a Cardinal fan in Oklahoma and Missouri.
I do know the answer. Doug Marino, the other person you're referring to, George. And Doug knows the answer also. He knows all the answers. I know some of the answers. Doug knows all the answers.
Well, when it comes to your team you grow up with, it seems like you follow true baseball fans as a kid.
Rod Barajas. Rod last year hit 19 home runs with Texas. He's always had a lot of pop. And so both of these clubs have gone to the American League to find a catcher that can swing the bat a little bit. The Rockies getting Miguel Olivo, and the Mets going and getting Rod Barajas. A couple of veteran guys. There's Miguel. Two balls and a strike with 2 outs and nobody on. Greg Smith. In his second start with the Rockies. And this ball's hit well. Dexter Fowler's got the great speed, and he'll close it down and make the grab. 3 fly ball outs. Middle of 2-0 Colorado. Stewart to lead it off. Inside the box with Jack in the box. Well, the last time the Mets were here, the Rockies teed off on their pitching staff. 16 runs, 28 hits. They hit 6 home runs. Chris Iannetta went deep in that series. Ian Stewart as well. You get the picture. But Mets have been a pain in the rear for the most part over the last 7-8 years against Colorado. That's Outside the Box, brought to you by Jack in the Box. Ian Stewart hitting .391. He takes strike one from John Maine. A couple of home runs, 5 driven in for Stewart.
Now, a lot of times I try to scout opposing pitchers just to see what they throw, where they stick around in their velocities. And one thing that's important to me is where they start the game at. And again, we can talk about Ubaldo Jimenez. We can talk about guys, hard throwers. Where are they in the 5th and 6th inning? In other words, does it decrease 4 to 5 miles an hour? Are they able to maintain their fastball velocity and strength?
But he continues, George, to your original point, to pitch backwards, unlike John Maine. Fastball, strike one, changeup, changeup.
And then a cutter, slider. It's just almost a different type of guy than to go right at. He's coming hard inside, as he did on Seth Smith, to try to get a strikeout. It doesn't work here. That was at 91. That's the hardest he's thrown in the game so far.
And I think that's why you saw Todd Helton and Brad Hopp go and fire at the very first pitch that they saw from John.
3-2. It's not only the 2-strike approach for Ian Stewart and how good it's been, again, just 6 games in, but he's also working counts deeper, Jeff.
Well, the way he's taking pitches, too, not really off balance. I mean, there he was able to foul one off. He was a little off balance there, but I was watching him around the batting cage today, and he was just soaking a lot in from Jason Giambi. And we talk about Jason and the influence he's had in the clubhouse, but I also attribute some of the success that Ian's had so far to learning from Jason. They're very similar type hitters.
Ball 4. Good AB.
That's a prime example right there of him taking the pitch. I mean, so many times last year we would see him just flail at that pitch, and now he takes it like he saw it the whole way.
Let's take a look at our first text question of the night. It's Text to Booth night, brought to you by OfficeLiquidators.com. Hey guys, which position player is most key to the Rockies' success this year? That's from Mike. George, I would mention a couple. I would say Carlos Gonzalez and Troy Tulowitzki, 1 and 4 in your lineup. Well, Barmas just got one up on the shoulder, and now first and second, Greg Smith can try to move him along.
Not even close at 90 miles an hour on the up and in pitch to Clint. To be honest with you, I expect good years out of those guys, and those are key positions in the lineup. For me, it's going to be in the catching tandem of Olivo and Iannetta. Not only the offense, but also the defense of being able to run this ball club and put up their big offensive numbers that they do. Because if they repeat at all what they did last year, you're talking about nearly 40 home runs out of the catching position. The other guys will take care of themselves.
Huey, how about for you?
I look at Brad Hopp and Ian Stewart, the 2 lefties in the lineup. Hopp, what he did in the first half compared to the second half, and Ian Stewart hitting higher than 220.
Glance at our Southwest Sky Cam and see that pitch up and in.
Well, a great job of just rolling the shoulder. There was nobody better than that than Don Baylor as a player. It's all you can do. If you try to run the other way away from it, you get a lot of damage. This way you just get a little shoulder backside.
Baylor would catch it and throw it back to the pitcher. Smith got the bunt down but foul.
Attempting his 3rd career sacrifice bunt. Good athlete, can handle the bat. He pinch ran over in Milwaukee when the bench got empty. Or was that here? He pinch ran here in the extra inning game.
I'll tell you a story about him. When he went to LSU, they said, you have to make a decision right now. You're either going to pitch or you're going to be a position player. And they were fine with him being a position player, but he wasn't going to do both. It wasn't like he was going to play a position on the days he didn't pitch. And he decided on pitching. And there was some times in the fall where they utilized him a little bit as a hitter. And one time in the spring, he told me against the University of Georgia, he was going to pinch hit, and he was on deck, and the guy in front of him made the last out of the ball game. But if LSU feels like you can hit at their level, you can handle the bat. And he gets the bunt down. John Maine has one play. And that's to Luis Castillo. So Greg Smith on the third opportunity gets the job done.
But actually, right before he went to bunt that ball, he moved up in the box about 6 inches. That allowed him to get the barrel, everything out in front of home plate, allow that ball to be fair.
Let's take a look at what John Main's done. This is kind of another neat deal that Ford Pitch Tracks brings you guys. And again, he has thrown 37 pitches in this ball game. In a total, if you look at this, 50, it appears to be 57 on my screen, 29 on the breaking balls, even less on the changeups. So a guy that was throwing 65 to 70% fastballs, Jeff, he's almost 10 to 13% less fastballs.
That just shows to me that he's scared to throw the fastball. He does not have the confidence in his arm to be able to jump on it, to throw it as hard as you'd want to.
Seth Smith takes strike one. Seems like every time he comes up, we were saying this the other day, he's behind in the count. He has struck out 6 of his first 12 at bats. That's not really like Seth. And he's a little tardy there. It's 0-2.
We're going to go back and look at this on Pitch Tracks real quick, and it'll give you an idea of what we're talking about. 39 pitches now, 55% fastballs. That's down almost 10%. 27% breaking balls, and in the teens and the changeups. I mean, he's throwing 6 of them, 6% of it. So, you know, it's one of those deals that you try to take advantage of the mistakes. And again, here's a ball on the inner half of the plate to him. Now at 40 pitches, and you watch and track how many of those go, and it'll also give you the percentage of where these are, what the pitches are, what pitch he's trying to rely on most.
Well, the infield's come all the way in now. They were back about halfway with 1 strike. Now they've moved in.
And this is popped up and playable for Reyes. So Seth Smith unable to get the ball to the outfield. It'll be left with 2 outs to Dexter Fowler. Let's take a look at another text question. Overall, this club is still very young. How will they handle the pressure throughout the long season of the high expectations that have been placed? One thing, George, that I look at is most of these guys, you say they're young, but most of these guys have played in the postseason.
No, you know, forget about young, because they're not young. They may be young big league experience-wise, but they're 28 to 31 years old. I think the other factor that comes involved into this that helps them take the pressure away is the ability to rely on Jason Giambi, who has been there many times, to Todd Helton, other guys that have been there and been a part of all that.
Rockies threatened. They could not get the big hit. They lead it 2-0 as we go to the third. George Frazier, Jeff Hewson, and Mark Stout.
Guys, let's answer the AT&T trivia question down here in the first base camera well. You see Todd Helton. He's got 2,141 hits now after his AB earlier tonight for the Rockies. The all-time hits leader for the Mets is Ed Kranepool, an original Met. He played 18 years for the Mets, 1,853 games, but only just over 1,400 hits. The most that Kranepool ever had in the season was 133 in 1965. Helton had, 217 in the 2000 season. What a difference. Hard to believe the Mets don't have a no-hitter, and they don't have a guy that's had 2,000 hits. But David Wright will probably pass that. He'll get up to about 1,100 this year, and he'll probably be all-the-time hits leader down the road. Guys?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. You brought up the other amazing thing, because when you think about the Mets, through closing in now on 50 years as a franchise, as Angel Pagan swings through on all of the great pitchers they've had, going back to Tom Seaver, Nolan Ryan briefly, guys like Gary Gentry, Jerry Koosman, John Matlack,
Dwight
Gooden, guys who threw no-hitters once they had left New York. Gooden had his with the Yankees.
Sid Fernandez.
Sid Fernandez. They've had Ron Darling. They've had so many upper echelon pitchers, yet nobody's throwing a no-no, and it's a pitcher's ballpark. George Shea Stadium was.
The amazing thing about Tom Seaver, he threw with the Cincinnati Reds. He did it on AstroTurf. The week before in St. Louis, he threw a one-hit shutout, and then the very next week, that's when you used to have quick turnarounds. The very next week, he threw the no-hitter. And the last guy, I may be mistaken, I'll go next door and ask. The last guy to make the last out of that no-hitter of Tom Seaver was Keith Hernandez. Because I remember Keith running across the pitcher's mound. Of course, they had no bullpens there. But he drew a big X on the mound trying to hex his no-hitter.
2-2 on Pagan, and he went around. He's punched out by Lance Barksdale at first. One gone, 3 strikeouts for Greg Smith, and that'll bring up the pitcher, John Maine.
Well, this is a very, very good slider, because what's going to happen is going to work his back foot. It's right down here. When you throw the slider there with a low trajectory coming to the plate, pretty good chance you're going to get him out.
Nice picture on the Southwest Skycam. John Maine at the plate.
Well, on the Hyundai cam, and I like this shot also because you can see how he's got to rotate his hand out over the top, can't work to the side of the baseball. If you do, you get a flat break. See that late tilt right at the very end and induce the check swing.
He really had his fingers very close together on that, too.
Well, you need to be able to apply pressure to the seam to throw that pitch. Very few guys will be able to separate their fingers when they try to throw the slider or the curveball, because you're trying to put combined pressure on the seam of the baseball when you throw it. 7 of 9 first pitch strikes so far for Mr. Smith in the ballgame.
At the knees, 2-2. Well, the Padres, another team that have never had a no-hitter. They also have never had a player hit for a cycle, though it almost happened yesterday. Seeing the home opener for San Diego, they scored about 400 runs against Atlanta. Maine is gone. Will Venable had a single, a triple, and a home run through 4 innings, but never got the double. They won 17-2. It was, what did I say, 400 or 4,000?
They scored 10 runs in 1 inning.
That's what you want to do on opening day, like the Rockies did in their home opener. 7-0, an emphatic win.
Couple bad line scores for the Atlanta pitchers. Jair Jurgens wasn't good. Reyes the other one.
Yeah, Jair Jurgens hasn't been real good in his first 2 starts, and I love that guy. I think he's one of the top pitchers in the league. Jose Reyes swings and misses.
And there was some question with Jurgens whether his shoulder was a little barky during spring training. Maybe it's not healthy.
And Reyes over the head of Tulowitzki. Boy, he gave it a try. He timed it right. He just couldn't get to it.
He elevated as high as he could. We've seen him make 2 plays like that already this year.
Well, it's all about timing here at shortstop. Obviously, you got to be able to time it, catch the fly to the baseball, and hope you just got enough ups. On the 4th strike zone, you'll see this pitch. Swing and a miss earlier on this pitch. Went right back in again, but that pitch caught too much. 43 pitches so far for him in the ball game.
Luis Castillo. Reyes gets checked out at first. One of the best base stealers in the game. even with missing most of 2009, you go back the last several years, Jose Reyes has stolen more bases than anybody else in the game.
First move back, though. Let's go back and look at some percentages on Mr. Smith. We've already looked at Mr. Maine. 44 pitches in the ball game. His fastball, 47% or 42% of the time, 22% on the breaking ball. And look how much he's used. Ava had the ability on the off speed, 29%. So he's mixed it up very well. He hadn't relied on just one pitch.
Oh and 1 on Castillo. You know, the Mets are a team really in transition. Carlos Delgado is in the Mets clubhouse tonight. Now, he's a free agent. He's no longer a member of the Mets organization, but the reason he's here, he had hip surgery similar to Alex Rodriguez in Vail at the Stedman Clinic.
Same doctor.
Same doctor. He's been up there the last 8 weeks. So he came down on crutches today to see his old friends. Good play by Stewart as he had to retreat a step or two to get the good hop. Good inning again for Greg Smith. 2-0 Colorado. College. Brad Hopp in the first inning, 2 outs. First pitch he sees from John Maine. He pulls it inside the bag past Fernando Tatis. 2 runs come in. And the Rockies off to a quick start. That brought to you by Virginia College. Now in the bottom of the 3rd inning, Todd Helton out of the 3-hole lead off. He had a 2-out single to start that rally. And he eyeballs that pitch down low. It was a changeup.
72 miles an hour. It's down about 10 miles. And obviously not a very good gun reading on that changeup.
And another off-speed pitch. So the scouting report from Maine's first start, in which he got lit up, has been true to form here, George. Again, pitching more off his off-speed stuff than what he had historically done, throwing the heater of the vast majority of the time.
Absolutely, and the percentages are showing that. I mean, in the past, he would throw his fastball close to 70% of the time, and he's been into the low 50% times to be able to throw that at this time. Todd Helton is the only position player not to strike out this year, covering 20 at bats so far. Impressive.
Three O's in there, 3-1. We have a report from the Rockies clubhouse. The word on Brad Hopp: tightness in his left quad. And that ball 4. Helton walks. Let's take a look at the Mets coaching staff. Jerry Manuel's their manager, and he's an embattled one right now. Dave Joust is his bench coach. Dan Worthen, the pitching coach. Hojo, Howard Johnson, a Rocky for a bit of time in '94. Their hitting coach. Chip Hale came from Arizona. He's now their third base coach. Razor Shines is the first base coach. And this ball ripped in the hole by Tulowitzki. And the Rockies have something going here in the third, first and second.
And he got on top of that pitch.
Let's take a look at this 4th strike zone. A lot of times mistakes made by pitchers cost you with the result. Here's where he wanted to pitch. Pretty big difference, huh, folks? He missed that ball by almost 2.5 feet of where they wanted to try to put this ball. Tulowitzki shot this thing by David Wright out into left field.
Randy Neiman, we didn't mention. Randy's their former big league pitcher. He's their bullpen coach. First at bat for Ryan Spilborgh's hitting for Brad Hopp. Not hitting, he came into the ball game after Brad had doubled. After the inning was over, Brad left with tightness, as we just said, in the left quad. In the dirt, no movement. Rockies not only in a stretch where they're playing 16 games in 16 days, their next 13 for Jim Tracy's group, all outside the National League West. Here's the 1-1.
I think the prior years, a lot of times all the games in April would be within the division.
Yeah, there's some odd things with the scheduling this year. The Rockies last year, if you recall, the first couple of weeks of the season, they were in Arizona twice. They won't go to Arizona until June 4th, 5th, and 6th.
That's shocking.
Yeah. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Jeff, what's the number one thing that Spilborgh's really has to guard against when you're not playing regular?
Trying to generate more than what's there. I know it's easy to say, but you get into that box and all of a sudden everything starts to happen a little bit quicker. You have to try to slow the game back down.
2-2, and he strikes out Spilborgh. So that's a big strikeout from Maine's perspective. As both runners do not move, and he'll bring up Miguel Oliva.
One more to look at this pitch. Kind of a center cut fastball, really. A little bit away from him. Typically where Spilborgh's has a lot of success with the pitch.
Third strikeout from Maine. Miguel Oliva was his second strikeout.
Really get a good look from the side where I'm sitting here. Miguel Oliva, he has his hands up high, but then right before the pitch comes, he drops him down into a good launching position. You see how high they are above his head? Just watch right before the pitch comes, he drops him right back down.
Is that a difference than what, and we'll try to get a shot at Dexter Fowler when he comes up. One thing Dexter's done is elevated his hands back high again. I want to see if he gets those down exactly the way this is. It's just kind of a starting point, a relaxation point, more than anything else.
And it's 1-2 on Olivo. Let's check another text message. Will Chris Iannetta or Miguel Olivo, or should let me read it correctly, will Iannetta and Olivo continue to split time behind the plate, or will one catcher get more time depending on performance? That's from Chris. Huey?
Well, I think right now it's going to be a 50-50 until somebody takes off either offensively or pitching and defense. I mean, that's kind of the way Jim Tracy's going to run with it now, and we've seen him go to another guy if somebody gets hot. I think it's too early in the season to sit here and say, okay, it's one guy's or the other. I think it's a pretty good compliment. We've talked about it on the broadcast before. When you got a guy like Miguel Olivo who had 23 home runs, Chris Iannetta over 15 last year, that's a pretty good combination of power.
It's a great combination, and the manager said after the ball game on Sunday, he said, what a bonus. He said, when the heat of July and August come, this ball is roped into right. More on that in a moment. Helton cuts the bag at third. Frank Horstrow to the plate is on line. Not in time. Boy, that Helton can fly. 3-0 Rockies, first and third.
6th RBI, and it's leading the ball club. Ian Stewart gets a base hit on a ball that's out over the plate. Todd Helton made the move in. See more and more trainers shaking hands right now with guys that are scoring. There's that slider, and it just stayed smack in the middle of the plate. It didn't have that bite he's looking for. And of course, Tatis trying to make a play or a backhand on that. That wasn't going to happen.
But I think if this ball is not touched by Tatis at first base, and I don't think Todd Helton's going to be able to score. He goes by with the slide by and the reach back with the left hand.
He almost slid just after the plate.
Well, I mean, Frank Coeur, we know about his arm. 71 outfield assists, which is amazing in his career. But if Tatis doesn't slow that ball down a little bit, it gets out to Frank Coeur quicker, then Richie Dower's not going to be able to send Todd home.
Boy, Stewart's in a good place, isn't he?
It's fun to watch, isn't it?
A lot of guys talked about Ian Stewart, that he has the ability to stay hot for about 30 days. He'll go cold for a couple of weeks. It comes in bunches. You hope he's able to level that off and just stay very steady. 7 for 14 now for Ian Stewart versus right-handed pitching.
Clint Barmes got plunked by a 90-mile-an-hour fastball on the shoulder his first time, and he fouls this pitch off.
Jeff, what effect does that have on a hitter? I'm asking this more for the fans. I know the answer to it. When you do get hit in the upper body with your first at bat with a pretty good fastball.
Well, it makes you a little leery the next time you step into the box. Is you're thinking, okay, what's it going to be? And if you pitch you away, you usually have a little bit of success because your first inclination as a hitter is I'm going to bail just a little bit.
I got another one for you, Jeff. We use this term all the time. Describe for fans what staying tall is, because that's one of the things that Clint Barmes has really worked hard on.
Well, just to make sure that your upper half just stays tall and you don't collapse onto your backside where you create an uphill swing. And when you create an uphill swing, your swing really starts to slow down. So you want to make sure that those shoulders stay level through your swing.
I thought last night I watched an illustration on Albert Pujols.
That was a great one, wasn't it?
Best I've ever seen on a pyramid or a triangle on a hitter, and where his head position never moved.
Runner going, and no throw,
and no coverage.
There was a mix-up somewhere there, George, because you got to do something with the baseball. Either if you're not going to throw through, you got to come up and at least give a pump fake.
Well, I think Barras was thinking about that. He was thinking about trying to throw the baseball. Let's watch over into the screen. See kind of a soft jog, and then he put the hands up immediately. Don't throw the baseball. And I really don't understand why Castillo did that.
2 in scoring position, 2-2. It's now 3-2. Maine has the luxury of not giving in here, in that Greg Smith is in the on-deck circle. Again, Greg Smith is far from one of those automatic outs if it does get to him. 3-2 on Clint Barmes. Rockies up 3-0. And back up the middle, knocked down. Barmes hustling, safe at first, goes up the right field line. 2 will score. Barmes hurt himself going over the bag. 5-0 Colorado. Jim Tracy and now Scotty Garrett going at.
He just said he was okay.
Boy, you hope so. With Gonzalez dealing with a tight hamstring from Sunday. Hop leaving this game early with a tight quadricep.
Right at the last second when he was lunging for the bag of Tatis, and he kind of got tangled up just a little bit.
Well, one look at this, the ball ricochets off, and then Maine slips and falls, and then from the knee throws it about halfway over there. The knees collided. Looked like kneecap to me. Going up the line with watch Bar. Here comes the throw. At first, see, it didn't look like the kneecaps matched up there pretty good.
Fortunately, there wasn't any sort of torn ACL or something like that.
Oh, that's hyperextended big time.
Yeah. The glove got him right on the knee.
Well, I think, too, when he jammed it looked like he jammed it, and it just kind of backed up on him a little bit, too, kind of reversed in, hyperextended it a little bit. Well, but is going to stick with it.
If you score with us at home, here's how you do it. It is a single and an RBI for Barmes, and then an error on John Main, allowing Ian Stewart to score as well. Stewart would have had to stop at third. So a single, 1 RBI for Barmes. 5-0 Colorado as Smith fouls it off, 1-1. Tell you what, if Maine feeds Greg Smith the cookie, he will drive the baseball.
Yeah, Maine's already at 66 pitches in the third with 2 outs. High number.
We discussed this off the top. That's been the history with John Maine. 5 innings, high pitch count. This ball lined down the left field line. That is a fair ball. Barmes running pretty well. He gets a green light from Richie Dower. He'll score easily. An RBI double for Greg Smith. Told you can hit a little bit. And Huey, that's a good piece of hitting. That wasn't turn and burn on something on the inner half.
No, fastball up and away about at the letters. He stayed through the ball. Let's talk about staying tall through a swing. That's exactly what he does from the 4th strike zone. You see it was off the plate, way up and away from it, but he stays through the ball. Just nice piece of hitting down the left field line. And folks, if there was any question about Clint Barmes and his knee, I think it was answered on this run all the way to first base. It works right down into the corner. Jason Bay tracks it down, but Clint Barmes is motoring the whole way.
Well, for Greg Smith, he continues to be a .500 hitter in Major League Baseball. He's 2 for 4, and that was his first career ribby. Seth Smith at the plate.
Let's look at the handicap now and watch the replay. Watch the eyes. That's what I look at on a guy that didn't bail. He stayed up on top of this baseball and just drove it, almost exaggerated with his upper body to get on top of the baseball. That's one of the hardest pitches up and away for a left-hander to do anything solid with.
He barreled it. And this ball is driven to deep right center field. Pagan going back, looking up. It's gone. Seth Smith, 2-run bomb. Rockies pouring it on here in the 3rd. First home run of the year for Smith. RBIs 3 and 4. And after his early season struggles, that has to feel awfully good.
Yeah, I'm busy. I'm going to order some tacos.
Well, line up tomorrow at Taco Bell between 4 and 6.
Oh, there it is. A breaking ball just hung right out in the middle of the plate at 82 miles an hour, and he's been burned on that pitch 2 or 3 times. Watch the balance and the follow-through of Seth Smith into right center. He knew he had gotten it pretty good. Pagan on a cool night thought he might have a play on this ball, and then there was no play.
Think about this, too. All these runs have been scored with 2 outs.
All 8 runs tonight, Jeff, with 2 outs.
And how do you feel if you're John Main looking out into the bullpen? You've given up a 8 spot in the 3rd inning and 7 hits, and there's no activity. Valdez now has started to throw. He's hidden over behind that wall.
Well, fans, feed your baseball fever at Taco Bell. 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a medium drink tomorrow. 1 order per customer. Raul Valdez, 32-year-old, originally from Cuba, defected. Maybe in this ball game in the not too distant future. John Main almost threw that one away. Rockies hit around 6 cross home plate. 8-0 Colorado. We're off to the 4th. Is brought to you by E470. Quick, easy, and available to anyone. Test drive it today. Tomorrow night, we're on at 6:40, actually 6 o'clock, the pregame show. Mets in town, and then Thursday afternoon, we'll be on the air as well. And then it is off to Atlanta to see Bobby Cox. George, final time that Bobby's going to be managing. He's decided to call it a managerial career at the end of the season. And 4 ball games in our nation's capital next week. Greg Smith involved offensively, and he's been pretty good on the hill, throwing up zeros. He'll have 1 hit, and he has an 8-run cushion. David Wright, Jason Bay, Jeff Francoeur, the middle of the Mets lineup.
And a very big inning for him, because this is where you really got to lock down. You just got your first base hit, you got a shutout, you got an 8-0 lead. This is where you have to lock down, shut down the middle of their lineup, and don't let another big inning come back and get you.
Wright, one of only 2 to reach so far against Greg Smith. He walked in the first. Jose Reyes had a base hit in the third. And that's pulled foul. David Wright, one of the more likable superstars in all of sports. And Jeff, he just has the perfect makeup for New York. He's a good-looking kid. He's handled the media exceptionally well.
That's been the key. I mean, he's flat out can play the game, but the way he's been able to handle the media, because as George mentioned a moment ago, that it's a tough place to play. They'll chew you up, they'll spit you out in a heartbeat. But he's been one of those guys that is a stand-up guy. When things aren't going well, he says, you know what, we need to play better.
And you know what, Jeff, it's funny, I hear a lot of players, this ball's going to squeak through the left side. I hear a lot of different players say this, but they've never played there, so they haven't experienced New York. You know, and they'll all go, man, I ain't going there. That'll just chew him right up. Well, go there. Isn't that tough?
Jason Bay coming up. Today's Fast Cash Sideline Report brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. Check in again with Mark Stout. Mark?
Guys, I had a conversation with manager Jim Tracy about Jason Bay, who's at the plate. He managed Jason in Pittsburgh in 06 and 07. Those teams didn't win 70 games each year. And he said, you know what, Jason Bay is a great guy, a great human being. And I had a chance to ask Jason about Jim Tracy during BP. And here's what he said to me. He said, you know what, we were bad baseball teams in Pittsburgh. But one thing I can tell you about Jim Tracy, he said he had an open door policy, and it stayed that way throughout the season. He was a stand-up guy, winning or losing, never changes the way that he manages the game. He's even-keeled and level. He had high words of praise. They both talked very highly of one another, enjoyed playing for Jim Tracy and coaching him. And he said, it's good Jason Bay's in New York, and he's a superstar, guys.
Well, Jim Tracy spent a lot of time with Jason Bay before the ball game around the batting cage. Here's the 2-0 on Bay. That's in there, 2-1. And here are the two chatting as Bay was stretching. Jason from Trail, British Columbia. Former Avalanche star, now an assistant coach, Adam Deadmarsh from Trail, BC. Good luck to the Avs. They take on San Jose in the opening round of the NHL playoffs in the Western Conference. We just saw Trace. I said, what'd you do on your day off, Skip? He said, I went to the Nugget game. He and his lovely bride, Deb.
Tulo was there. Dexter Fowler went to the game last night.
Those two go a lot when they can. That pitch misses, and now Greg Smith has put 2 on. Not put 2 on. And Wright earned his way on. But there's 2 on with nobody out. Miguel Olivo can go out there and settle him down. You have Jeff Francoeur up, who is a notorious first pitch fastball swinger. Repair that chip in your windshield. Do it now. Call Safelight Elite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelight.com. Francoeur lined the ball to center field back in the second inning.
Well, this has been the one shining spot in their lineup as far as being able to have the ability to drive in runs. But their ball club has really struggled with men in scoring position. They're hitting 187 as a ball club with 14 strikeouts.
Got to go change up here.
Well, he went fastball.
I'm just a little surprised just because Jeff Francoeur, he likes to swing at that first pitch. He's not a guy that's going up there looking for too many pitches.
Well, the one thing, he is a first pitch fire, but he is also wanting the ball away from him. He really likes to drive the ball in right center field more than pull the baseball.
Two and oh.
Pretty good location. They're just down. They just can't get the fish to bite.
Talking to Howard Johnson, the Mets hitting coach, about Jeff Francoeur. He spent a lot of time working with him last year, and in fact in the offseason before spring training began, he went to his home in Atlanta and spent 3 days working one-on-one with him, and he said a lot of what we did was on the mental side of things, but he also has gotten him to work counts a little bit more. You know, he's up there for 3 pitches. There'd be games he'd see 4 pitches the entire night.
Work at bats, work pitch counts, get them to your favor where you can really identify a pitch that's coming to the plate.
He's walked 4 times in the first 6 games. It'd take him a month in years past, literally, to walk 4 times. On the ground, foul. 2-2.
See, and that's ball 3. That ball was out of the strike zone. That ball was down. And he chased after it. See this pitch on the 4th strike zone. As it approaches the plate, it has that late sink. He's got to go down and get it. In the strike zone, on your 4th pitch strike zone, folks, is measured from the top of the belt to the knees.
Two. Now, Francoeur was the idol of every young kid in Atlanta. People knew about him early in his high school career. Great 2-sport star, high school All-American in football. Obviously a great baseball player. Goes to the local team. Covers Sports Illustrated. Big star quickly with the Braves.
That reminds you of somebody else who's playing for Atlanta now.
Yeah, and he's handling it right now also. Jason Hayward, who we'll see in a couple of days, Huey. And I saw the other day, left on left against one of the best lefties in the game, Jeremy Afell. He went deep. That's his 3rd home run, and he did it at AT&T Park, which is not easy.
No.
Nobody out. Rockies up 8-0. They've out-hit the Mets 7-2.
Let's take a look at the pitch count right now on Mr. Smith. And 25 balls, 38 strikes, 63 total in the ball game.
On the ground is short. Easy 2. Well, that'll save your arm a number of bullets if you can get this next out. 6-4-3. It'll bring up Fernando Tatis. Let's take a look at our Breaks Plus Take a Break poll of the night. Text your answers to 95323. Who is your favorite New York baseball team, the Mets or the Yankees? Rocks 1 for I wear orange and blue and I'm not wearing my purple. Text Rocks 2 for proud of the pinstripes. And as always, for voting, you'll receive a $15 oil change and filter or $50 off mileage maintenance service over $100 in the month of April.
All right, Doug, Drew, quit texting. Guys are firing over there.
Tatis hit a drive to right field his first time up. Big swing and a miss, 0-2.
Not going to get cheated. You get guys with big swings like this, if everything doesn't stay together, one thing's going to happen for sure. That head's going to pull off the baseball. And if you throw it into that swing path, he's going to hurt you.
With the lefty on the mound, Tatis at first base. If it was a right-hander, you'd see Mike Jacobs. Daniel Murphy on the disabled list. It's a setup for the changeup, isn't it, Jeff?
Exactly, and that's what you want to do with Tatis, because he likes to get his arms extended, jump on that fastball, but then the changeup really gets him off balance.
Well, just didn't locate it with the curveball. It's 2-2.
Well, let's take a look at Greg Smith's pitches so far in this ball game, and you look on the pitch track to see the percentages out of those 66 pitches. 45% fastballs, 28% breaking ball, and 25% changeups. So he's really mixed it up well, yet relied on that fastball when he needed to get the out, as he did on Frank Court.
Swung on and missed. Greg Smith works out of a mini jam in the fourth. He has 5 punch outs, and more importantly, he has an 8-0 lead. Baseball on FSN is brought to you by AT&T. Switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, a better 3G experience. By Brakes Plus, a whole lot more. By the Courtyard by Marriott on the 16th Street Mall. Call 303-571-1114 and ask about our hometown sports package. And by Colorado Hyundai. Hyundai was just named the most efficient car maker in America. Visit your Colorado Hyundai dealers today. Well, you may have noticed it today if you were dropping by a bank or a school. The flags at half-mast. The reason, paying respects to Lech Kaczynski, the Polish president who passed away 2 days ago in that tragic crash in Russia of the Polish airliner, and our sympathies to the Polish people. Todd Helton, a single and a walk. He has scored 2 runs leading off here in the fourth. And the new pitcher, as John Maine only goes 3, is Raul Valdez, making his second big league appearance as a 32-year-old. His first came 2 days ago, and Georgie did a nice job.
He did a very nice job. Not going to overpower you. More of a tricky type left-handed pitcher. His fastball, it's the first time this season Helton has struck out. That was at 87, kind of a low 3/4 sling arm type action to the plate. And he was able to put that ball on the outside half.
How is the Mets bullpen? Jay in Boulder wants to know. So far, they've been great. They have the lowest ERA in the National League, and coming in to this affair, we'll see if it holds up. Hopefully it does not, but they had a run of 13 in the third, scoreless innings. It's now 13 2/3 with the strikeout of Helton.
Frankie Rodriguez, one of those guys that one of premier closers down there, signed a big contract with their ball club. The other guy that I really like, Feliciano, the left-hander.
Yeah, he's kind of turned into more of the eighth inning guy for him. He used to be just that specialty lefty that would come out there. Now he's taking the eighth and taking some of the pressure off the rest of the guys.
Well, Feliciano's a handful, and he was lobbying to be able to pitch a full inning and be one of the primary setup men for K-Rod. And now with the additional lefty down there, you may see that more and more for Jerry Manuel.
Pretty steady diet of fastballs away to the right-hander. With Helton, he threw that slow curveball at 73, and then he went fastballs away. With the right-handed bat up, it seems it appears so far he's trying to keep everything away from their power down that outer half, not overpowering. Goes out again. He walks Tulowitzki.
And Tulowitzki's now been aboard 3 times, 2 walks and a base hit. Let's take a look at our deaths won this date in history. April 13th, 1963. I remember that day well. Pete Rose tripled off Bob Friend for his first big league hit. The future all-time hits leader had gone hitless in his first 11 big league at-bats. He got his 4,000th major league hit on the same date, 21 years later. Isn't that something? Our Dex won this date in history. 1 on. Spilborg struck out in his first at bat, came aboard defensively in the second inning for Brad Hopp. Brad, tightness in his quadricep after doubling into in the first inning.
Hey, Drew, I got to go back to this date in history just for a second.
Okay.
April 13th, 1963. That was your birthday, right?
That's why I remember it. That's why I remember it well. Yeah, I thought it was 1983.
Right.
Thankfully, Susan Lom, who does such a marvelous job with our graphics in the truck, doesn't add real well, Frage, because she has this as, or maybe she's being kind, huh? My 29th birthday?
Again.
I think she's being very kind.
Susan is very nice. She wouldn't do anything.
Because I remember we've been working together 23 years, so I don't think you were 6 when we started together.
Actually,
in Creighton.
Actually,
Creighton,
I had a ponytail when you first started working with me, right?
Long hair, and it wasn't the same color.
What are you talking about?
Well, it's kind of lighter blondish gray now.
I got you. I'm just trying. I'm just trying to keep up with Houston with the birthdays. That's all.
Well, we're the same age right now.
Yep, I got you again.
Yep.
2 on now for Miguel Olivo. Back-to-back walks. Jerry Manuel, speaking of hair falling out of one's head, there's no defense for the walk. You heard that line.
It kills you. I mean, it just makes everything miserable.
Well, that's already 5 in the ball game for the Mets.
That's in there for a strike. Miguel Olivo taken all the way. Now the Mets opened the season 2-4 at home, and it doesn't take long to get the scribes with all of those New York papers writing negative stuff. And today's New York dailies were filled with the Jerry Manuel watch, among other things. And if this ball game continues this way, what will they be writing tomorrow? But in fairness, the last time I checked, it is a 162 game deal, and 6 or 7 games in.
Well, so far, Jerry Manuel,
a little early, isn't it?
But he hasn't won yet in a Mets uniform. 127 and 134.
A lot of it's probably a carryover from last year, too. defense to Jerry, though. He's a solid baseball guy. I had him as a coach when I was coming up with the Montreal Expos. He knows his baseball.
He hasn't had a healthy team.
No. Well, you think about all the guys that are out. I mean, last year was Carlos Delgado, Jose Reyes, Carlos Beltran. I mean, you think about taking out a Todd Helton, your center field, Brad Hop. 2, 3, 4 out of your lineup, out of anybody's lineup, is going to kill you.
Yeah, and Beltran's still out. Reyes just came back. Their rotation's in shambles. Santana had a good first outing, a bad second outing. That's a strike, 1-1. You know, Maine was a 15-game winner a couple years ago. He just matched his career high, giving up 8 runs in 3 innings. All of them earned. 2 outs. Tulowitzki at second. Spilborgh's at first. Good swing there by Ian Stewart. 1-2. He has a walk and an RBI single. Stewart also a stolen base in that 6-run third. Stewart's hit in 6 of 7 ball games this year.
Curveball was a pitch he utilized early in counts against left-handers. He struck out Helton on a low 3/4 arm angle with a fastball away.
Yeah, he got Ian Stewart. Well, a little of everything for Raul Valdez. 2 walks, but he struck out the side. 8-0 Colorado. First inning, 2 outs. First pitch to Brad Hop, and he doubles down the right field line, bringing 2 home. God help Troy Tulowitzki. And then in the 3rd inning, Ian Stewart kept his weight back, and he drives one into right field for an RBI hit. And then Clint Barmes hits it hard up the middle, turns into a base hit, and then an error allows another run to score. Rockies not done. Greg Smith finds a double down the left field line to bring a run home. And then the other Smith, Seth Smith, with a 2-run bomb to deep right center field. Our game recap brought to you by Land Rover. Greg Smith will face the bottom 3rd of the Mets order. It'll be Rod Barajas, Angel Pagan. We'll see if Jerry Manuel, instead of burning his bullpen, has Raul Valdez hit.
I think that all depends on what happens in front of him and if they can mount some things. But right now, after a couple of walks and 3 punch-outs, let him swing the bat.
Center field. That'll bring up the former Chicago Cub, Angel Pagan, who athletically, you look at Pagan walking to the plate, athletically is probably the best athlete in uniform for the Mets. Ball cuts over the outside corner for a strike. Oh, 2 text message. Tuesday nights brought to you by Office Liquidators and OfficeLiquidators.com. With all of the injuries in the outfield, is EY Jr. available? EY Jr. is available. He's in Colorado Springs, but these injuries, knock on wood, are not serious. Carlos Gonzalez is available. We've been told to pinch hit. He jogged earlier. He's in a day-to-day deal. And Ryan Spilborg's in the ballgame for Brad Hopp, who has removed tightness in his quad. Now, it's not like Brad injured himself and had to come right off the field. I mean, he finished the inning. That's foul ball. So that too looks to be, one of those day-to-day injuries.
Well, the thing is, if it affects your bench so much that they can't pinch hit, then that's when you got to look for something else. But hopefully with Brad Hopp, can't miss that bat. I'll tell you that.
And EY is going to hit, and he's going to do a tremendous job. He's off to a slow start in the Springs. He's 1 for 19 right now. This ball's a pop fly to Dexter Fowler. 2 gone. And now Valdez will hit for himself.
Well, on the first 8,000 fans through the gates on Saturday, April the 24th, it'll receive a Great Clips coupon. That's right, get your hair cut. Purchase these tickets against the Marlins at any one of the Rockies ticket outlets, or go online to ColoradoRockies.com. And Drew, I'll get you a belated birthday present. I'll get a coupon at Great Clips, because I'm tired of cutting your hair on the road, and Huey's tired of doing it at home.
I just went to Great Clips.
When?
In Milwaukee. Huey can attest to that, because we had the big debate who was going to cut my hair. I was going to have you cut it.
Well, that's because you trusted me. You didn't trust Huey or Help.
I did not trust Help. I trust Huey.
To do the sideburn part?
Well, Todd would have thought it's funny, and he would have given me some crooked haircut.
He would have put an arrow in there or something.
Might not have. You never know.
0-2 on Valdez, 0-3, and that means he's out. That means the Mets are out in the 5th. The Mets are being shut out. It is 8-0 Colorado. Barmas to lead it off when we come back. At 6 in the 3rd, highlighted by Seth Smith's 2-run home run. Fans, if you'd like to receive notification when Colorado scores 7 or more runs for the Feed Your Fever Taco Bell offer, text the keyword taco to 95323. You can do it right now. See, I think she's doing that phrase right now.
I'm sure she is. A lot of people are.
Smart.
Well, they get a phone call and say, hey, what do you like? Boom, they start texting. Or you're on TV. That's the other one you get.
Clint Barmas has been on TV. He's also been on base twice. Hit by a pitch. And a more conventional way to get on his second time up. He singled, drove in a run. Singled off of then pitcher John Main's leg. And this is rolled to the left side, right on the move. Another text message. When a pitcher adds to a game offensively, does it boost their confidence in their pitching on the mound?
Personally, I think guys get too excited about the fact they just got a base hit. But yeah, I mean, it depends. Obviously, if you're getting base hits and runs are scoring, you've got a lead. It makes it a little bit easier to pitch out there. I think it makes you feel a little better contributing to both sides of the baseball on the mound. And
that's hit pretty hard.
Yep.
That's the hardest anybody's hit against Valdez. He had 3 strikeouts and a rollover ground ball. Huey?
I think he caught Fernando Tatis a little bit by surprise, too. He's out here laughing and kind of shaking his head just a little bit like, well, wait a second here. That guy wasn't supposed to hit the ball that hard.
If he did, at least not at me.
Yeah, I think the ball caught him the other way around.
Now Seth Smith, 1 for 3, that 2-run bomb. Huey, the wind is nowhere near, I'm imagining, what it was during batting practice.
It was awful during batting practice. We were standing down here on the field and had to throw some rocks into our pocket just to make sure we didn't blow away. But now there's just a little slight breeze down here right now. I know the flags are just fluttering just a little bit, but like down here at field level, it feels really nice right now.
Well, yeah, you get gloves and overcoat and everything else on.
I prepared, George.
Get it, baby.
Come on. You're the one that told me the other day.
That's
right.
You
said, you know what? You got to be prepared. Gloves, scarf, I'm good to go.
Has been terrific on the hill. He's fashioned a 2-hitter through 5. Drew Goodman with George Frazier, Jeff Houston, and Mark Stout. Let's take a look at our Geico quote of the day from the fella next door. I remember this when he was on Seinfeld. Excuse me, I don't want to disturb you. I'm Keith Hernandez, and I just wanted to tell you what a big fan I am. I love your comedy. Remember that episode, George?
Yes.
Hernandez,
you know what? I'm proud of Keith. Let me tell you something. I'm really proud of Keith. We had a conversation. I looked at him downstairs in the dining room today. We were teammates with the Cardinals, and I said, what are you eating over there? And he told me it was a dietary thing. And he said, George, I weighed 249.5 pounds in Christmas. And he said, there's no way I'm supposed to weigh 250 pounds. So he said, I just started eating right, exercising again. He's down 5 pounds from his playing weight, folks, and he hadn't been there for 25 years. So great job for Keith Hernandez.
Well, you know who else is down in weight? That man, Howard Johnson, lost 25 pounds.
See, all these guys, though, they're getting paid, you know, to do those commercials and all that stuff.
We'll just say same thing. Just changed his diet. It's always worked out.
Just change some habits around. I mean, I lost 26 pounds through the winter time. Starting to put it back on now.
You know,
I'm not chopping wood. I'm not driving a chainsaw. I'm not, you know.
Just cut down the late night eating.
You got to quit going with Tracy Ringlesby to have the bear claw and pizza at 11:30.
Strike 3 on Jose Reyes. That is punch out number 7 for Greg Smith.
Career high 10. That was against Texas back on May 4th. Type of breaking ball you want to put where you want to put it, and that's right there. Excuse me, fastball on the outside corner of the plate, threw it right where he wanted to. Nice two-seam sink right to the outside corner after throwing him a lot of pitches down and in.
I'll tell you what, his first outing was a little uneven in Milwaukee, and you got to give him a mulligan. He hadn't been on a major league hill in more than a year. He said, I was sweating bullets.
Sure.
Tonight, now the Rockies gave him a nice lead. Luis Castillo's going to line one down the left field line. Good job by Seth Smith to get over. And Castillo is out! What a play by Seth Smith.
Not thrown out of the ball game. He's pointing at him for throwing it down, so he tagged him on the arm. But by slamming the helmet, it drew him a $100 fine. Well, again, if you don't hustle to this baseball and then plant yourself to make a strong throw, you don't have a chance for this. But he's sitting right on top of the play. That's what is important. But Dana DeMuth is sitting right there when he made the call.
He really slowed down to go into his head first slide, though.
Yeah, that was ugly.
That was bad.
Do I slide feet first, head first? Which way do I go with this?
We're down by 8 runs. I mean, you can't get thrown out.
Well, thank you very much. You know, Luis Castillo trying to get something going for his club, but you're right. I mean, it's going to take a lot of hits and a lot of base runners to climb out of the hole the Mets are in. So Castillo singled, but cut down by Seth Smith. And now there are 2 outs, nobody on for David Wright, who's been on twice, a walk and a single. David Wright has a .390 career batting average at Coors Field, which is among the top 10 all time in this ballpark. And this ball's tomahawk to left, and it is gone. A home run. Second home run of the year for David Wright. And Greg Smith loses his bid for a shutout.
So that ball looked down low to me. I want to see where this pitch was. If you look back on his right-handers, he's gone fastball away and his slider in with mixed with a changeup. But he hadn't shown a fastball first pitch an awful lot. Now watch and see where this is. Now you look where it'll leave us setting up, and then look where the pitch was. That missed by a good foot. That ball was inside and down, and he just opened that front side and turned on it.
And I'll think back to that play with Castillo. I know it's still an 8-1 ball game, but he didn't get thrown out. A home run, 8-2, and only 1 out.
Well, particularly, Jeff, when you've got this type of 3, 4, and 5 coming up right behind you. You know, he plays second base. Let's see if he has a conversation when he goes out with Dana DeMuth. See if he can finish the inning. We talk about pitchers being able to get through the inning.
Right.
A lot of times, fielders will go out. Did you ever get kicked out, you?
Just one time when I was hitting. I tossed my bat and my helmet. And
was it a day game?
No, Dale Ford, but I can remember the umpire.
He always can.
Yes, indeed. Only time of my career.
Stewart throws out Jason Bay. 2 hits in the inning. David Wright had a solo home run. Middle of 6. It's 8-1 Colorado. Coors Light Freeze Cam. Seth Smith against John Maine. They say palms up, palms down when you make contact, and that's exactly what you see there. The perfect power position. Seth Smith with a 2-run home run. That was the Frost Brewed Coors Light Freeze Cam. Well done, huh, Huey?
Very nice.
Well, this kid is one of the top prospects in the Mets system. 20-year-old Henry Mejia. That's how you pronounce that first name, Henry. He throws very hard, and he's not a big-bodied guy. He's about 6 feet tall and about 180 pounds, but he can bring it.
Well, he'll run it up to 95, 98 miles an hour. It's explosive when it comes out of the hand. He's touched 97 before, hard changeup. Curveball would just bites. Really gains the attention. He was the youngest player at 20 to just kind of cruise through high A and get into double A. Made this ball club because he's pounded the strike zone, throws hard. Chance he is rated their #1, not top, but #1 prospect in their organization.
I'll tell you an interesting story about him. When he was a 17-year-old kid in the Dominican Republic and he was being taken to a tryout with the New York Mets by his Biscone, yeah, pronouncing it wrong, but he didn't feel well that day, and he told the Biscone, he said, I really don't think I can break 85 miles an hour. And he said, well, just do your best. Well, he still registered 92 as a skinny 17-year-old kid. The Mets signed him, and as George described, he has skyrocketed through their system. That last fastball at 95, it's 0-2 on Dexter Fowler. Todd Helton on deck.
See if they go to the breaking ball. That hard curveball on Dexter down on that back footer. If they go to the fastball and try to blow him up inside. Changeup at 86. I told you, Castillo, let's see if he said anything to Danny DeMuth when he went back out. If he just touched the bag, give him any looks, did anything. Didn't say a word. True professional. Took it out on his batting gloves.
I was surprised that Dana just kind of stood there, because sometimes you'll see the umpire, well, they'll turn around, just kind of walk away to diffuse the situation.
That's if they like you.
Yeah, but Luis didn't say anything, but he was mad that whole time he was taking ground balls.
1-2 on Dex. And again, he goes changeup, 2-2. Softly hit. Jose Reyes makes the catch. Let's check in with Mark Stout.
All right, guys, let's get you the XL Energy fun fact. I'm surrounded by Mets fans and Rockies fans for this fun fact, because here you go. Last time the Mets were in the World Series, a decade ago, 10 years ago, Bobby Valentine's team lost to the Yankees 4-1. There are 3 players from that team still playing professionally. 2 of them are playing for the Newark Bears in the Atlantic League, Armando Benitez and Edgardo Alfonso. The other one, and here's the Rockies tie, is Jay Payton, who is down with the Sky Sox, of course. So those are the 3 that are left. And just an FYI, and you guys as baseball fans will know this, you know who else is playing for the Newark Bears, and they're managed by Tim Raines? You remember Willie Banks, the first-round pick by the Twins in '87? He's 41, and he's on that team. They start play at the end of the month. So there's your XL Energy fun fact about the Mets and the Rockies.
Well, fun fact, to your point, Mark, is you look at some of these independent teams, Newark, St. Paul, you will recognize some of the names. Hey, did you know the kiosk behind the rock pile is powered by 46 solar panels? Find out how you can use the sun's energy at responsiblebynature.com. Helton had a little tilt and loft in that swing. In his last at bat, he went down swinging for the first time this year. Todd's 1 for 2 and a walk, couple of runs scored. This is in the air to left, Jason Bay. And the former Padre, Pirate, and Red Sox makes the catch. Tulowitzki's had a perfect evening. 2 walks and a base hit, 2 runs scored. Another text message. Every year it seems like we have a great arm brought up from AAA. Who is there this year to watch? That's from Mike up in Cheyenne, one of many, many Rocky fans.
Well, there's quite a few
north.
guys. I think, Shashin the other day, a one-hit shutout in his debut. Dideno, another right-hander that's down there. Ismail Rogers, Christian Friedrich, who pitched very well in his AA debut, has done a nice job there. Some veteran guys laying around, but I think probably, you look right now, those would probably be the four guys they would turn to for starting rotation. Ismail Rogers is here with the club now. Oh, nasty hook. That is a power curveball. Most curveballs at the big league average 72 to 76 miles an hour. And that curveball 79 to 81 plus curveball velocity-wise and a power curveball.
You just don't see power curveballs much anymore.
No, it's more than everybody's gone to that slider cutter type deal, Jeff. And
yeah.
And this kid, a lot of the young Latin kids will learn to throw a curveball before the slider. I mean, if you read all the reports on Shashin and Dideno, they say, slider will come. At some point this year, they'll start to implement and work on that pitch. He's got some pretty good giddy up. He's set in this, facing these three batters, 94 to 95.
And not a whole lot of wasted motion from his windup or anything like that. I mean, he gets the ball and is pretty quick to the plate.
For a young kid, 21 years old, he's pretty thick in that upper body, lower half.
Getting a lot of leg drive.
Strike three. Now Mejia with a 1-2-3, 6th inning. Look at the 4th strike zone. Overhand curveball backed up. Castillo thought he had a double. Seth Smith said, not so fast. Great throw on one hop right to Clint Barmas, who applied the tag. Our Home Depot doing more on defense. We go to the 7th inning. Seth Smith's buddy Greg Smith is still out there.
I wanted to know if you went to Home Depot today. That was a shot to the left.
Ripped to left, base hit for Jeff
For your
Francoeur.
birthday. Because you always are working with woodwork materials and fixing things around the house. Did you go and just replenish everything at Home Depot?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I didn't get there today, but I will be there. I was thinking about going today.
What were you looking for?
You know what I was going to get?
You know what's
George?
really good?
No, this is true, because you led me to this and you think I'm going to make something up. This is the gospel truth. I was thinking about going to Home Depot because before school today, I was throwing in the. We have a barn. I was throwing in the barn to Jacob. We have a little hitting cage, right? This ball, we'll get to that in a second.
Let's get to all this.
Yeah.
We got something happening here at this ballpark.
Yep, Tatis with a double, 2nd and 3rd. Greg Smith in a little bit of trouble. And Bob Apodaca is going to walk to the mound.
Buying a little bit of time, 93 pitches in the game right now. And you know what? Here's the deal. You want to have them walk off the mound with a good taste in their mouth. You don't want them to give up a base hit. Obviously, I mean, the bullpen is throwing right now, but I mean, still, you don't want to have a mess up in this situation. It's 8-1. You don't want this to become an 8-4 ball game and turn ugly late when it's been so good. Esmo Rogers throwing down in the bullpen for the Rockies. You just don't want it to get ugly. You want to keep this right where it needs to be, and that's we're in a difficult spot now with nobody out and runners on second and third.
But the one good thing, you are starting to work with the bottom half of their lineup.
Yep, at the plate is Rod Barajas, who's twice hit the ball to center field. Fernando Nieve is throwing, and he's been very good for the Mets. He's in their bullpen. This is launched foul. It'll go foul. Time for today's quest, high-speed pitch. Greg Smith has touched 89. John Maine hit 91, but John Maine gave up 8 runs in 3 innings. The Mets starter ERA is awful. The Mets bullpen ERA is outstanding.
They've gotten better in this game. Their ERA coming into this ball game is ranked #1 in the National League at 1.27.
You know, Keith Hernandez dropped by to say hello a moment ago in between innings as you look at Nieve, and he said, you know, maybe they're doing it backwards. Maybe the relievers should start the game, and then the starters come in afterward. Two and one on Barajas, and this ball's hit well to left. Smith will make the catch. With a look to check the glove. Jogging home is Francoeur with the Mets' second run. So a sac fly for Barajas. Angel Pagan coming up. And then we'll get a pinch hitter for New York. You'd love to see Greg Smith finish this out. Get 7 innings. Go off on his own terms. And you know Jim Tracy's going to give him the opportunity to do that.
Well, one thing that he talked about today in his office was the ability for pitchers to get through the 7th inning. And he said, you know, I think one of the things that have been lost in developing, and he wasn't pointing a finger, obviously, at the Rockies system. He was pointing the finger at all of baseball. That let young pitchers figure out how to get out of situations in the 6th inning. Let them figure this thing out. Don't just shut it down and, oh, he's got 88 pitches. He's in the 6th. He's got runners on first. We need to get him out of there. Let them figure out how to make a pitch to get out of there.
This ball's hit pretty well. Smith should have room. He will. And virtually the same spot. 2 outs. And all 4 balls in this inning have been hit pretty well. Gary Matthews Jr. is going to be the pinch hitter in the 9-hole.
Now those last 2 balls were squared up perfectly. Just the ball's just not really traveling tonight, because that last ball by Pagan, that was solidly struck.
Well, you got to hit it through the wind if you're hitting the ball to left field. So little Sarge. Would that be a private, George?
Well, he's 0 for 8 this year with runners in scoring position. I have a special place in my heart for this young man. I used to babysit him when he would come to Chicago, and we'd venture around the town and end up in places his dad couldn't believe.
Well, his dad's one of our favorites. Longtime broadcaster with the Phillies.
You babysat him, George. I played with him, so we're both getting old.
Holy cow. I don't remember seeing you running around in the locker room.
Oh, I played with Junior in Chicago. My last year, he was just coming up.
0-1 on Gary Matthews, came over from the Angels. Yeah, he's in the midst of a very big deal. You know, he had that huge year in Texas, George, and he signed a free agent deal, very lucrative one with the Angels. And then when they went out and got Torrey Hunter, he basically lost his job.
Yeah, he did. And he never, you know, injuries plagued him a little bit over there the first year. And they gave him 5 years, $55 million. I think he's got this year and one more left on the contract. Played very well in Texas defensively. Still a very good defensive player. 2 for 14 on the year so far.
He's playing against right-handed pitching primarily.
I remember the time in Texas, he made that catch over the wall. That was the same night that Raul Ibanez caught the ball off of Jamie Carroll in Seattle.
Two of the best catches, not just that.
The same day.
The same day, two of the best catches I have ever seen. That one at Jamie Carroll that Raul Ibanez made. George, I remember like yesterday, we're doing the game up there, so that's the best I've ever seen over the wall.
Great catch. It was absolutely just a fantastic catch.
And then you and I are grabbing dinner after the ball game. We see the highlight.
Yep.
We say, you know what? I think that one's better.
That's pretty good. Sarge just ran up the wall, made the catch, and came back.
1-2. And Matthews fouls it off. Doug's recomputed the Mets starter's ERA at 6.63. Or about 5.5 runs higher than the bullpen ERA right now for the Mets.
Like the fans getting into a little bit of what Greg Smith has given them tonight, and that's 7 very good innings.
Got to get one more here.
Spin him a breaking ball.
And that gets past.
And that's unusual.
With
a man on, that's very unusual for that ball to get by him. Let's watch it again from center field. You'll see the ball as it gets into the dirt. Typically catchers will drop and just give their whole body up. This ball's ricocheted off of the mitt. Made it difficult because of the breaking ball. Hit the heel of it and went away from Miguel. Everything fundamentally pretty sound. Bad hop with the baseball.
Yeah, that was so close to the plate too. As a catcher, you're thinking, is it going to hit the plate? Is it going to scoot? I mean, that ball was right in front of the plate.
2-2, and he fooled Gary Matthews Jr. badly. Greg Smith gives up a run in the 7th inning. But a terrific performance, 104 pitches, 7 innings. Smith with an 8-2 lead. Around for Greg Smith. He'll be gone after 7 outstanding innings. He gives up 2 runs on 6 hits. He struck out 8. Well, you got to feel great for Greg Smith. Such a tough year last year, battling injuries and illness. making his Rockies debut more than a year after the trade for Matt Holliday. All right, let's update you with our Breaks Plus poll of the night. Mets or Yankees for folks who wanted to text into 95323. And the Yankees, 56% of our voters picked the
That's pretty good out here.
Yeah, 44% the New York Mets. What's going on?
How many times did it take your dad to text that?
So, well, I guess there's
Another vote.
been a late swing. And now it's right down the middle.
So one text made a 4-point swing. I like it.
I don't know about that.
Uh-oh.
It's going back the
There
other
was
way.
some movement.
The polls, they're still waiting for those West Coast results. We cannot declare a winner yet.
Wow, what happened? Hey, here it goes. Okay, I'm done.
Spilborg's got tied up. No swing.
There we go. Oh, we forgot to vote. Hurry up, vote.
25,110 in the ballpark tonight. Ryan Spilborg's 0 for 1 in the walks. It's coming on for Brad Hopp, left with tightness in the quadriceps.
You know what we need to find out on our vote one night? You know what? A lot of people voting right now. Look at this thing running back and forth. You know what we need to ask one night? Find some guy that's coming to the ballpark that's going to ask someone to marry him. And have the fans vote, will she say yes or no? And just because you know how they always play, you see it at the ballparks and the guy kneels on a hand and puts it on the scoreboard and the whole deal.
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
What do you think?
That's a nice idea.
25,110 here at the ballpark tonight.
And then the next night, how long will they? No. That's not right. Line foul.
By the way, Fernando Nieve, did I pronounce that right for you, Doug? Is the new pitcher for this ball club. Good fastball. He'll run it up to 92, 95 miles an hour. Mix in a hard curveball. Very rarely will he throw the curve. More slider and changeups, but predominantly a fastball pitcher.
Yep, he throws it 65% of the time. There's the slider. 3-2 on Ryan Spilborg's. Miguel Olivo is on deck. This will be the 5th appearance for Nieve.
Well, great job what he's done with this bullpen, along with a lot of other guys down there. Just pounds the strike zone. A little bit of a long arm action, but has had good results. He'll walk the leadoff man, Spilborg.
And Nieve with the walk. That'll bring up Miguel. The 7th inning is the Burger King Whopper inning. If Colorado hits a home run during the 7th inning, Burger King will offer a free Whopper with the purchase of a large drink the following day between 4 and 6 at participating restaurants only.
I tell you what, there's one right up here, Colfax and Spear. You go with me. It's your birthday. I'll get you a double.
I think Miguel may get everybody some Whoppers.
Double loaded regardless.
Okay. That got me through college on a lot of nights.
Got me for 55 years, pal. College, what are you talking about? 800 votes. Wow. To see which team who likes what.
That was a thought out of midair, George. But
who likes what?
You were talking about our Breaks Plus poll. More than 800 folks who voted.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is cool. There's a base hit for Miguel Oliva.
That's pretty cool right there.
Yeah. You know what? It's really cool, Jeff. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation, but Miguel will hit it over the wall, but, you know, he's going to punch out some. Big, strong guy. He had 3 punch-outs, and you don't want the golden sombrero.
No, that's the last thing you want, folks, because you're 0 for 3. You're sitting there going, oh, boy, just let me hit the ball. I don't want to strike out again, and he didn't, of course. Bam, he took.
Huey, let me ask you honestly.
Yeah.
You know, big league hitter for more than 10 years. You get in that situation, or maybe you're in a slump. Do hitters abandon the philosophy of going deep in the count and saying, I want to fire early. I don't want to get to a 2-strike situation.
Oh, I just want to make contact. Even if I dribble it back to the pitcher, that's fine by me. It's funny because I had a conversation with Clint Barmas today, and he was talking about the last time he went 0 for 4 with 4 punch-outs was against John Maine, who started tonight's ball game. And he said, I was just hoping that last time that I just made some sort of contact. I said, I've been there with you, pal.
Well, you know what? He had 2 at-bats against Maine. He got hit on the first one, and then he had a base hit where he hit Maine.
Well, he said he was going to have a different game plan going into tonight's ball game, and there he did.
2-0 on Ian Stewart. 2 on, nobody out. Rockies up 8-2. That's in there. Good eye. 3-1. There's Esmil Rogers. He apparently will be next in relief of Greg Smith. Ball 4, and now Nieve has come in. Walked 2 and given up a hit. The bases are loaded for the aforementioned Clint Barmas. Take a look at our Amica hit zone on Barmas from last year, George.
Well, you can see guys that try to pound him right out here. This is going to be your sliders. This is going to be your fastball in and down, and that's a lot of left-handed sliders also. But anything above the zone, they're able to get it by him up there. And so what he's trying to do is get the ball out away to where he can do a little bit of damage with it. I thought the number in the middle, Jeff, the 277 in on a right-hander, I thought that number might be a little better because he's quick on that middle half.
Yeah, I thought it might be 377 or even above 400, just the way he's able to turn on balls. But I look at some of those numbers, the ones up top especially, and I think that's why he went to more of an open stance, to recognize that pitch just a little bit sooner, to try to lay off it or to try to make sure he keeps his hands on top of that and stay tall through the zone.
One 1-0 on Barmas, saving a run there with Barajas.
The Rockies have had 3 opportunities where the bases loaded this year. 1 for 3. Barmas one of those at bats. Did not have the base hit.
Outfield shaded toward right center. Barmas did not pull the trigger. It's in there 1-1 on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, you know, again, I mentioned that the strike zone is from top of the knees to the belt, and it's adjusted every time. It just did catch the top of that strike zone at 92. He reminds me, just watching him, a little bit of Shashin with his delivery. And what I mean, good fastball, good movement, decent changeup, but hadn't shown a lot of confidence in that breaking ball. Now, Shashin has confidence in his curveball. The other day, I mentioned 1 hit over 5 innings. As a hitter, though, you just get that process of elimination when they're not able to get the breaking ball over. You sit back, pick your zone, and wait on the ball to get in.
Greg Smith may get a chance to hit. That's going to force in a run. It is 9-2. So even though we believe Greg Smith's going to come out of the game, 104 pitches, up by 7 runs. Jim Tracy's going to let Smith hit for himself here.
Well, I think a couple different reasons, Drew. I mean, first, Carlos Gonzalez is more than likely not available, and you've already lost Brad Hopp. Ryan Spilborg's in the game, so your bench is already short just a little bit. So why not? And plus, he's had a couple good hacks up there. And you really find out, maybe, is he a guy that you could use as a pinch hitter later on in the season?
Yes. He is.
You know what I'm saying? Hey,
yeah,
let's give him another
in an emergency. You're right.
Yeah, in the 4th inning, something happens. I need somebody to go up there and pinch hit right then in the 4th. You send him up there instead of burning a position player.
Okay, can we get a quick poll going? A quick breaks plus poll. Smith get a hit here? Yes or no? What do you got, Frazier?
I think it doesn't take. We don't have enough time to do that.
Well,
but I'm going to vote yes.
Huey.
I'm going to vote no, but he's going to get an RBI.
Well, Huey's a deep thinker.
No, he just adds to
I'm
it.
voting-
So that way he's right either way.
I'm
See,
saying-
come on.
He gets a knock. Not on that pitch.
Okay, I'm going to say punches out.
You're the guy who's making that break.
Yeah, I get to make the rules. I make the rules.
That, by the way, that's 8 walks allowed by the Mets staff today.
You're not going to win in
That's
the big
awful.
leagues walking 8.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not going to happen.
That's awful. 1-2. Nieve pitched in the first 4 games for the Mets this year. He's the first pitcher in Mets history to pitch in the first 4 games of a season. Bases loaded. Our breaks plus. See, did they get it in? There you go. 56% thinks he's going to get a hit. Think he's going to get a hit. I'm having trouble with the English language. And it's bobbled by Reyes, and he gets an RBI. Huey's all over
right on.
Huey is all over it. Of course, if they turned 2, he would not have gotten the RBI.
But they did.
And you cannot assume a double play. So Greg Smith with his 2nd career ribby, both tonight.
Slapped it out there. That's right. You got a middle infield back. Corners are in. Why not? You know, that unfortunately doesn't come up an error for Reyes, but as it should. And Jerry Manuel, who's trying to make sure things turn around or give you the appearance that things need to change, is going to his bullpen.
This is not how they wanted to start the road trip, but it's how the Rockies wanted to start this series. Set is brought to you by Steel and your local Steel dealers. For a location near you, visit steeldealers.com. By Exempla Healthcare, most hearts, most experience, stjosephheart.org. By the Colorado Lottery, don't forget to play. And by Chase, introducing the 1% mortgage cash back. Chase, what matters? Rockies in Lodo up 10-2. First time they've hit double digits this year. At third base is Ian Stewart. He walked, and at first base, Greg Smith, who reached on a fielder's choice and produced his 2nd RBI of the night. The new pitcher is Hisanori Takahashi.
Another rookie.
He is another rookie.
At age 35.
Yeah, a veteran of many years in Japan.
79-game winner in Japan. He lost 66 games over there. He's primarily a starter. He worked 1 year in 2006 as a closer, had 15 saves over 62 innings.
And Seth Smith drives one deep to left center field. The wind's going to hold it up, but it drops in between Pagan and Bell. Greg Smith will stop at third. Both Smiths are on. Another run comes across. 11-2 Colorado. The Rockies just beaten up that Mets pitching staff, and after the bullpen had done a pretty good job in the middle innings in relief of John Maine, they've gotten after Nieve and now Takahashi on his first delivery.
Well, an awful lot of walks have played into this. These two guys circled to the baseball, even though it hit into the gap type area, and I'll give a little bit of an excuse to Pagan. He was playing more into right center field, thinking about pull versus opposite field, and he had a long ways to go get to baseball. And Jason Bay gave a valid effort. It just dropped in the middle of all of them, and a couple of runs scored.
Dexter Fowler from his more productive side, the right side. Jose Reyes is halfway at short. Luis Castillo's in a little bit deeper at second. 11 runs on 8 hits. Been 8 walks, courtesy of the Mets staff tonight. That's in there. Jeff Houston, if a team plays bad baseball, take advantage of it.
You have to. You got to set the tone early. I don't care who you are. You go out there, and if they're going to give you all the walks, you go ahead and take advantage of it, and really set the message for the rest of the series moving forward.
Let's take a look at another text message. Are the San Francisco Giants for real, or are they getting lucky? Well, they're a good team. They have good pitching. They're down 2-0 right now in the third inning at home to the Pirates. You know, I think going into this season, most people thought the Giants would put out a formidable club when you can have Lincecum and Kane going. Barry Zito, the second half of last year, threw the ball very well, and he started very fine this year, George. You have Jonathan Sanchez. You know, the question with the Giants on the road, would they be able to score enough? So I don't look at them as a surprise. I don't think they're going to play at the same clip they're playing at all year right now. It's a good pitch there by Takahashi, and he strikes out Fowler.
I'll say this about the Giants rotation. It is outstanding. Whenever you can run Lincecum out there, then Kane, then Zito, who's pitching very well, and his former #1 guy. That's all of a sudden a 4th guy in the rotation. Sanchez, a no-hitter last year. I mean, they've got a very good ball club with Wilson closing, Affelt coming out of the bullpen. You get any offense at all, it won't be any fun.
Helton's 1 for 3 and a walk. A couple more ribbies out there for Todd. He's got a couple on the year. Dexter has taken the collar tonight. He's 0 for 5. He's the only one not to reach so far.
I'll tell you what, that is so hard to hit that. That's 67, 68 mile an hour curveball. And it's this big old motion. Everything's great. Look at the leg holding, and wham, here it comes. And no, it's not. I mean, it's like it's on a yo-yo string, and he just keeps snapping it, and finally gravity pulls it down.
Tried to go back to it.
Well, he's gone to it 3 straight times. He's not going to give Todd a fastball. I mean, just don't see it. His fastball doesn't have a lot of velocity to it anyway.
I'm just trying to think the last time I've seen that awkward of a swing from Todd Helton.
Three and 1.
3 slow curveballs and a changeup.
That's an interesting sequence, isn't
Well,
it?
he's just not going to give him a fastball to hit with runners on second, third. He's just not going to do it. Not going to give in.
Yeah, he did there.
Yep, sure did. 90 miles an hour. That's something else.
I mean, cover, isn't it?
27 mile an hour difference between curveball, fastball.
Especially when you haven't. I mean, the first time you see it is on the 5th pitch.
He doesn't really want to take a pitch and try to use it. Let's look on the 4th strike zone and see where he's working. Everything was in, but the one curveball that he swung and missed, that went more to the middle of the plate.
And now they're loaded up again for the cleanup hitter, Troy Tulowitzki. That's 9 walks allowed by the Mets staff. The Mets are fortunate they're on the road, because if they were at Citi Field, the boos would be deafening.
Well, they'd be deafening, but there'd only be about 8 people left doing it.
Yeah, everybody else got the subway back home.
They'd have gone to the house by now.
Tulo tonight, 2 walks and a single. Greg Smith at third, Seth Smith, who doubled at second, and Helton is at first. Oh, 2. Rockies have hit a home run in every ball game this year. They out-homered the Padres 5-zip over the weekend.
One guy you don't want at the plate, bases loaded. It's this guy, 438 career average with the bases loaded.
Strike 3, second time. Tulowitzki's been caught looking tonight. In the inning, the Rockies tally 3 more. They're up 11-2 on New York. Time for the Cooney Lexus look back. Let's just look at the third inning, because that may take a while. Rockies got 6 runs in the third. Ian Stewart drives in Todd Helton. Nice slide from Todd. And then Clint Barmes singles off to John Maine. John Maine compounds the problem by throwing it away. Another run would come home. And then Greg Smith showing he can handle the bat. Lines a laser down the left field line. Clint Barmes would score first career RBI for Greg Smith. And then Seth Smith, keeping it in the Smith family, hits a 2-run home run to right center field. That's brought to you by Cooney Lexus, where luxury has an address. We go to the top of the 8th inning with the Rockies ahead 11-2. Tonight's call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. Esmil Rogers making his second appearance of the year. And George, we saw him on Friday. The Rockies ahead 7-0. And he had a 1-2-3 ninth inning, and he was throwing in the mid to upper 90s.
Yeah, he was at 95 miles an hour. A couple of fastballs here early, 95. But the one thing about it that he'll find very quickly is, you know, it's different pitching 11-2. Pitch this like it's 1-0. Come right at guys. Work corner to corner. Don't try to stay in the middle of the plate. And I really think his role down the road a little bit. And I know he's still been starting all along, but I feel that his role, because of his velocity and the hard slider, he has an opportunity to be a very, very good 7th, 8th inning man at the big league level.
Luis Castillo with Reyes at first. That's outside. He's sitting right on 95. Castillo from San Pedro de Macorís. We talk about how many great players have come out of that section of the Dominican Republic. A longtime member of the Florida Marlins.
It was a shortstop factory for a while.
Yeah.
Good guys coming out of San Pedro.
And of course, that's what Luis was growing up. And flipped over to second base.
Well, think of that double play combination, Gonzalez, and now playing with Toronto when they were back in Florida, these two together.
Yeah. A couple World Series with the Marlins, and that gets away from Olivo, and Reyes will move up. 3-1.
One of the hardest pitches to block, fastball, particularly when it hits out right on the plate. That thing's going to scoot, and it's kind of self-defense. 95, no glove, just shin guard. And it ricocheted all the way over to the wall. Yeah, matter of fact, you can see it shake the backstop where it hit on the Hyundai cam. See how it caught him right on the toe.
Oh! 3-2.
We're going to throw in a forward strike zone for you. And again, it's from the knees to the belt. Give you velocities here of when it comes out of his hand and when it crosses the plate. The beginning and the end and how long it takes to get there.
Not long.
94, 88 at the end and 0.3 seconds.
Think about that. Think about that.
That's
folks.
pretty neat.
More than anything, 0.3 seconds. So a third of a second to make a decision. Should I swing and to contact the baseball? That is why it is the single hardest thing to do in sport.
See, that's the best part of this feature that I like, because sometimes TV doesn't give it justice when you're standing in the box, how quick that ball is coming to you.
David Wright gets the slider, so he had, like 0.4 of a second.
And when you catch a guy for a long time, and the minute that Miguel caught the baseball, time, I'm going to the mound. Hey, it's second sign. He could read coming out of the hand slider, and he didn't get crossed up on that. Some guys you do, but he didn't that time. I mean, that was a slider. He's like, yeah, I'm looking for fastball. And he missed well off of the plate.
The worst thing is if you think you're getting a breaking pitch and you get a 95-mile-an-hour heater.
Fastball came right out of the hand at 94 at 88.37 seconds to react to the baseball. Mets 0 for 5 today with runners in scoring position. The Rockies 5 for 15.
Good block by Olivo. Well, that's a great block, Huey.
Well, just from where it hit out in front of home plate.
But good movement, because Olivo had to shift like 6 feet.
Think about this, too. It's 11-2. He could easily olayed that and said, you know what? I'm not blocking this. I've been back here. But he slid over. He wants to protect the young guy that's out on the hill.
Well,
that's just a veteran play. That's being a professional.
That in reaction. I mean, it's just. I think the hardest thing for a veteran catcher, when you just caught somebody like Smith that's 86 to 89 and hit every spot you called, you know, now you get a guy that you're looking in and it goes away, or you're looking away, see how he's got to reach way back on the Hyundai cam. I mean, that's almost a 1.5 2 foot field back to try to catch the baseball. Well, let's take a look. He's thrown 13 pitches so far. 76% of those have been fastballs. 15% have been the slider. And just 7% changeups. Jordy, as he should, throwing 95 miles an hour, live on that fastball. Trouble is, when you create yourself problems like this in a kind of a blowout game, the last thing you need is first and third, and all of a sudden you're catching 3, 4, and 5. That's not a lot of fun.
And they'd like him in a perfect world, George, to eat both these innings up.
Yeah, give the rest of the bullpen another day off.
You don't even want to get anybody up, because you would know better than any of us
out.
Is that if you get somebody up, and even if he doesn't get in the game, that's some wear and tear on his arm.
Well, it's wear and tear, but he's stretched out too. I mean, he's up to 55, probably 65 pitches coming out of spring training because he was sent down early and then brought back.
Jason Bay's 0 for 2 and a walk. Has yet to drive in a run in a Mets uniform till now. That's his first New York RBI. And it's 11-3.
You know, and it's tough for Bob Apodaca, even though they were in spring training from February 15th on, you know, and to watch and get enough time spent with him that when he gets off mechanically, that's a slider. It stayed out away from it. 16th pitch of the inning for him. But it was away and it was up. But to go out and talk to him about his mechanics. Now you go out more and talk to him about just finishing the inning.
That's where it's nice to have a guy like Jimmy Wright down in the bullpen. Somebody that's had him come, you know, in the minor leagues, to be able to bounce some stuff off of Bob and say, hey, when he starts to get out of whack, it's the front shoulder, it's the front lead leg, whatever it may be. There's Jimmy Wright out in the bullpen. What a valuable addition he's been, to be able to have that extra set of eyes out there.
Francoeur trying to hold up on the first offering, just against his nature, and it still got the bat, so it's 0-1. Two on, 1 out. Francoeur's 1 for 3. That's a pretty good pitch right there.
Well, it's a good pitch, and it's a hard slider down and away, but when you got a free swinger, it even makes it better. The Hyundai cam, you're going to see this ball come out, good tuck to that front side, and then all of a sudden, here comes the hard breaking ball down and away. It just disappeared on him. And veteran guys think, Jeff, in this type of situation, man, there it is at 94, work away and then up and in above the hands for a strikeout. They're not anticipating 86-mile-an-hour slider. They're thinking, all right, kid, give us some fastballs.
Well, especially when
because of the runs.
Yep, and he's had a little bit of trouble commanding really anything. So you're thinking, okay, a kid that's not commanding, he's just going to go back to his fastball.
2 outs. Fernando Tatis at the plate. Doubled in the 7th inning, 1 for 3. And he takes a heater for a strike.
I wish I had $1 for every time the pitching coach came out to talk that the next pitch was a strike. 33 years. It's unbelievable how many of them come out and the very next pitch is going to be a strike. The calming effect.
You can work all you want on backfields, climb your way through the minor leagues. Nothing replicates playing at this level, does it?
Well, the hardest thing is the ballparks, the players, and everything that goes with playing the game doesn't change. It's still 60 feet 6 inches. It's just in a lot bigger arena. 11-3 Rockies.
Bottom of the 8th inning. Let's take a look again at our Breaks Plus poll of the night. I wanted to know folks were looking in who liked the Mets, who liked the Yankees, and 56% now like the Mets over the Yankees, the defending world champions. And keep your votes coming in. We like to see how that poll changes. We've had, what, over 800 folks vote tonight?
That's gone back and forth, too.
We know how Frazier voted.
Mets all the way.
Ryan Spilborghs will lead things off. And the first pitch from Hisanori Takahashi's in there for a strike. Matt Belisle has gotten up. Is that a just in case, George?
No, I think you probably get him a little bit of work. He had off Sunday and Monday. He threw 2 innings in the extra inning game on Saturday, so get him out and let him throw the 9th inning. I don't think it's I saw Bob Apodaca go over when Rogers, even when he got the last out the way he did, he still went over it and made a point to probably get these guys a little bit of work down in the bullpen. Some guys will tell a pitching coach, once they get past their area of the game, that they, if we get 11-2, we're past this my normal 7th inning where I would work, I'd like to get an inning tonight if I can.
Spilborghs rolls over to David Wright. Repair that chip in your windshield. Do it now. Call Safelite Elite Auto Glass at 303-287-5000 or go to safelite.com. We'll bring up Miguel Olivo, going for 4 tonight after striking out his first 3 plate appearances swinging. He singled last inning and would come around to score. Look at that curveball. It's 68 miles an hour. It's a good one from Takahashi. Let's take a look at the 2009 Amica hit zone for Miguel Olivo. Ball away from him oft produced good numbers.
Just the one up right underneath his hands, the 167 average. That's a tough pitch for anybody to get to.
Who other than Barry Bonds hit that ball well?
I don't think anybody.
Yeah. Hey, for each Colorado hit from now through the end of the season, Amica Insurance will donate $10 to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Denver. Thank you very much, Amica. And $90 more and perhaps more already collected tonight. Change up away. 3-1 on Olivo. Aaron Cook, Jonathan Neese tomorrow. Jonathan Neese is a left-hander. And this ball toward the gap in left center field. It'll touch down. Miguel Olivo has another 2-hit night. Showing off that good speed easily into second. Keeps throwing out 2 hits every night, doesn't he?
And a nice way to rebound after having a hat trick in his first 3 at bats. Look, 4 strike zone here, George. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. A fastball up and away, and we just saw where his power is, and that's where it is.
Well, you just watch it. I've watched an awful lot of this in the game tonight to see how many missed spots they are and what the results were. A lot of times you'll get away wanting a fastball away. If you throw 95, it gets above the hands. But when you make a mistake and you don't throw the ball in the upper to mid 90s, you don't get away with a lot of that. And tonight, the Mets pitching staff has not gotten away with the mistakes, and that was one there.
Oh, 0-1 on Ian Stewart. How about this, George, from around baseball? Jorge Cantu of the Marlins is the first player in almost 90 years to have a hit and an RBI in the first 8 games of the season. It's George Kelly of the New York Giants in 1921. At least 1 hit and 1 ribby in each of the first outings for the Marlins this year. The Marlins lost 10-8 at home to Cincinnati.
Well, the amazing thing to me is Albert Pujols, 6 home runs and 14 RBIs. He had the day off today. 6 home runs, 14 RBIs. He's got as many RBIs as a lot of teams, half as what a lot of teams have combined. Talking about Albert.
That's outside 3-1. Stewart a walk, a single and an RBI, a punch out, another walk and a run scored.
I'm okay, guys, in case you're wondering.
I missed you by 15 feet. I saw you duck. You edged outward. Looked like you were somebody throwing a hand grenade in there.
Mark's right next to me over here. Mark's ducking underneath the seat.
They all trust you as a former big league infielder. They all stand behind you.
No way. Mark and I were getting out of the way.
Here's the 3-2 to Stewart. That is the second out. It'll bring up Barmes. Let's take a look at our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. How about Seth Smith back in the 3rd inning? John Maine threw him a slider and Smith hammered it. 2-run home run for Smith, his first of the year. That's our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Miguel Olivo doubled. He's at second base. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Rockies had lost 7 straight against the Mets before finally beating them on a Thursday night at Citi Field last year. That was after the first 2 games of that series, George, you recall the Mets shut out the Rockies.
Pitched very well.
Boy, he throws that curveball, Jeff. You want to put a donut on your bat.
Trying to slow down your swing and your momentum jumping out to him. Well, I think he also lulls you to sleep a little bit because he's got that double little hitch in his windup like a lot of the Far Eastern pitchers.
Well, you think about it, in Japan, there's a lot more breaking ball pitchers than there is power pitchers. They're kind of trick artists over there.
Pretty good swing there by Barmes, 2-2. That's 3-2. Jerry Manuel's done a pretty good job protecting his bullpen tonight, with Maine getting blown up after 3 innings. Raul Valdez gave him a couple. Henry Mejia gave him an inning. Nieve only got 1 out. And this is the 2nd inning of work for Takahashi. And it's popped up right around the mound. Tatis, whoa. That almost dropped. We'll go to the 9th. The Rockies up 11-3. Home phone service warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. By Dex One Marketing Solutions Business Results. By Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Burger King, home of the Whopper. (11-3) Rockies. Post-game report will immediately follow the festivities here. And there's Tom Helmer rocking it up.
Rocking the Casbah, no less, Drew. After the ball game, we'll talk about down and out. Brad Hopp, some quad tightness. Mark Stell, get us caught update on that. We're also going to talk about his name is my name, too. 2 Smiths having a big night. We'll talk about both their performances and, of course, get you to the clubhouse. And then we'll be rocking the Casbah with the Cowboy.
Hey, where's the Cowboy? The Cowboy's not there.
Cowboy dance. Come on, Cowboy.
Oh, boy.
He'll be popping and locking after the game. Big Rockies victory.
Hey, Tom, you're gonna be icing with a pulled quad as well after the game.
That's 2 of us that have a tight quad, but I'll be back to play tomorrow.
Why are you so out of breath?
You
Go
need
work
oxygen. I thought you were doing that PX90 stuff.
I am. I'm in great shape. Drew, I could dance the entire postgame show.
Well,
don't count me out.
We'd rather not see that.
I will not.
Okay, buddy. Matt Belisle will pitch the 9th inning. Rod Barajas will step in. Third pitcher utilized tonight. That's all for the Rockies. Greg Smith, 7 terrific innings, 2 runs, 6 hits, walked just 2, and struck out 8. And he is in line for his first win since late in the 2008 season.
September the 8th, the last win for Greg Smith, and that was in an Oakland uniform.
Yeah, September 6th, actually, 2008. He beat Baltimore. 7 innings of shutout baseball that night. Got his 7th win of the year. 0-2, and a little roller to Belisle, 1 out. Angel Pagan's 0-3. He'll be next to face Belisle. As Neil Rogers pitched 1 inning, gave up a run on 2 hits, struck out 2. abbreviated schedule in the big leagues tonight. The Dodgers earlier beat Arizona 9-5. Cincinnati over Florida in 11, 10-8. In the 5th inning, Pittsburgh leading 3-1 over the Giants at AT&T Park. 2-1 on Pagan. American League scoreboard: the Yankees over the Angels 7-5 at the Stadium. Detroit beat Kansas City 6-5. Toronto over the White Sox 4-2. Seattle and Oakland scoreless in the 6th. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Angel Pagan. 3-2. Soft liner for a base hit the other way. Frank Catalanato, a New York native, will be the pinch hitter for the Mets. That's a strike. And another one. Catalanato's been around. First broke in 97 with Detroit. Last year, got 144 at bats with Milwaukee, hit 278. Strike 3. That was quick. He never moved the bat.
Well, I can see why he had probably a little bit of argument. You see that second strike was outside, and then here's the third one. Kind of matched it up. It was outside also by about 2 or 3 inches at 92 miles an hour.
Two outs. Pagan at first. Jose Reyes. Reyes has thrown out a couple of hits today, a couple of strikeouts as well, 2 for 4. Third game back for Reyes. For the Mets to compete, this guy has to be healthy.
He can do so many different things. I mean, he plays great defense, get on base, steal a base. For them to go anywhere in the East,
you know, there's some
he's got to be a big part of it.
There's some talk as he served to the left side that they may move him to the 3-hole. More on that in the coming days. Tonight was all about Greg Smith and the Rockies. Smith was terrific on the hill, and the Rockies put up double digits for the first time in the young season, scoring 11. 11-3 final. What a great way to start this series against New York. Our Granger player of the game is Greg Smith. Congratulations to Greg. His first win since early September of 2008. He had to watch all last year with injuries and illness. He goes 7 strong, giving up just a couple of runs on 6 hits, a pair of walks, and 8 punch-outs. Greg Smith improves to 1-1. John Maine takes the loss. He is 0-1. Rockies 11, the Mets 3. The happy post